I wasn't like mad about it. I thought it was awesome.
If I hiked to a place like that, like just by myself, and I got to the top of the hike in a mountain and I'm looking down at everything, I'd pull out my wiener for sure. Just to do it. I don't know why. But that's just like what's the first thing in my mind is like, I'm pulling out my dong. Because I don't know, I'm here by myself. I don't know, man.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to not just a special Tuesday show, but the ultimate Tuesday show on 2/22 in the year 2022. It is definitely the Tuesday show. What's up? I'm James Chen, and I am joined by David and Brandon. How you guys doing?
Doing so great, so super great. Earlier today, my dad actually was the one who texted us that it's like Tuesday, etc. And then I was like, oh yeah, because it's Tuesday. And they were like, in my family chat, they were like, wow, that was a really bad pun, David. Good work. Anyway, what's going on, Brock?
I know what you're all thinking. Yes, this is the same shirt and same hat I wore in the latest Tabo Opinions video. And no, I did not wash this shirt in between filming that and this. Because why would I waste the water on something I wore for 10 minutes?
I totally agree with that. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about Street Fighter 6. We're going to talk about the Capcom Cup Season Final. We're going to interview TheBlacktastic. We're going to have some fun 5-5 matchup topics to discuss. And then we have a couple of interesting mailbags that we will get through. And let's start by talking about Street Fighter the Sixth. The sixth Street Fighter has been, well, I guess depending on how you count. Anyway, Street Fighter 6 has been announced. And it was announced at the end of the season final, which again, we're going to talk about after this. So just pretend that like all that setup has already happened. Whatever. We're going to do this in reverse order.
What What is
all the whole setup of the season final, and then the announcement.
Yeah, fine.
And then the announcement of the Capcom Fighting Collection, and then Street Fighter 6. Whatever, we're doing it backwards. They had earlier put up a countdown. We talked about last time. What do you think that countdown's going to be for? And it turned out, lo and behold, to everybody's massive shock and surprise, that it's Street Fighter 6, which they announced at the very, very end. So, James, do you want to show the trailer?
Oh, yeah, sure. Actually, let me see here. Did you put a link to it in the thing?
I sure did.
Here we go. We get to show the trailer. Let's do this.
Yeah, we're going to analyze all the gameplay footage.
Yeah.
We're going to spend a long time on this.
The gameplay footage, yeah.
Exactly. There's a lot to go over, dude. Like, the gameplay is crazy. All right, let's do this. Here we go.
He's like in a sauna, maybe.
You ready?
That's a huge dick.
Don't call the Luke that, man. He's so smiling and he looks happy.
He has a huge smile on his face all of a sudden. Yeah, he's like the Joker smile, very all of a sudden. Oh boy, where do you think he was reaching for when he did that punch? It doesn't show you what he was aiming for.
You know where.
Can we back up to approximately halfway through that?
You know where.
A little bit earlier. Yeah, it's the spot. So first of all, this is not
First
real.
and foremost.
So first of all, it's just a figment of your imagination, for sure.
First and foremost, if you look at Ryu's crotch and you don't see his dick laying on his right thigh, you are in denial. That is absolute. You have never worn gray sweatpants in your life.
It's not there. It's not really there.
You've never worn gray sweatpants in your life if you don't believe that's a penis.
I don't think it is.
That's absolutely meant to be a penis. Someone worked on that.
I just don't think it is. I just have to be perfectly honest.
It would be hilarious. All right, if you show it in motion, the outline, the shadow, it remains even when the camera moves. This is
Okay.
intentional.
I
This
don't
is
think so.
intentional.
All right. What, James? What are you doing here? Is your okay? So there you go. That's the entirety of the trailer. Obviously, it's extremely short. All we see is that Ryu is a little bit wider than he used to be, and Luke is
In
a
many
little bit
ways.
happier looking than he used to be. He's got
Although he's got a
happy
bunch of
face
new
on.
scars, and then his veins pop out when he clenches his fist.
Yeah, he does V skill 1 and he turns into Popeye
Yeah.
arms. And I mean, can you replay just briefly? Because at the end, when they kind of like go into their different like color modes, I don't know what to call it, right? Like,
Yeah. They show like the V trigger effect,
Right.
and then they show the like focus attack effect on Ryu.
yeah, like this
And
right
there's
here.
the color splash,
Yeah,
and then Ryu gets the good old black and white ink mode from Street Fighter 4.
right. So he gets a big old weird smile on his face, and then he's like, "Yeah, time to party in red." In orange and blue.
He looked down and saw what Ryu was packing.
He was like, "Hey, look, man, you're Ryu from Fortnite. I'm Ninja, and I play Fortnite."
Oh,
so he's
no.
really excited about that.
Oh no. And then the very, very brief one for Ryu, which is, I mean, look, both of those are pretty cool looking, in my opinion.
I mean, the question is though, obviously look, when the Street Fighter 4 trailer first came out, we all went crazy over seeing like this blue silhouette pop out of somebody, and we were like, oh my god, Street Fighter 4 is gonna have custom combos and all these things. And everybody's looking at this trailer and this goes, oh, we're gonna have grooves. We're gonna have like, oh, there's gonna be a Street Fighter 5 groove, and then there's going to be a Street Fighter 4 groove.
It's true.
Dude, come on. Like,
I remember that.
Let's not.
You don't think that's happening?
This is just cool trailer effects. Come on.
Okay.
I think if I'm taking a guess on why they did that, if there is any purpose behind it, I honestly think it's just to show that we're going to be using RE engine. The characters are going to look somewhat photorealistic, like Devil May Cry 5 or 5. But we're also going to have like traditional Street Fighter VFX. It's going to still look cartoony in that way, and kind of anime. I think that's all they're really trying to show off.
Which is really interesting to me too, because there's some people who are saying that they're sad that the game looks so ultra hyper realistic. Like literally in the Gooder Lounge, when we were chilling there, I was saying to people that I was really glad they went with the mix between the realistic and the cartoony look, because I still think the characters looked. Obviously the Ryu wide proportion is highly exaggerated. Luke's little smile is exaggerated. And I still felt like they looked more caricaturish than they did. Like, they're caricatured with realistic textures, which I think is important for modern fighting games these days. I mean, look how many people complain about the way KOF 5 looks because they probably don't have pores and shit all over the place.
The stylizing...
it's not good enough for PlayStation 5, kind of thing. So
I think the stylizing in the trailer, to where you can't really see a lot of details and it's very dark, I think that's on purpose. I think that's to gauge interest and see what people think. And then if they don't like it, maybe they have a backup plan where you can pivot to a different art style. I think that's all that really is. I feel like that the game is probably further along than we know, because they have been working on it for some time.
Oh, yeah.
There was leaks that leaked it years ago, basically, that it was already in development. So I do think they're probably further along in development than we know. So maybe that's not actually a real thing. Maybe they've already stuck to that art style. But I do think it's intentional that you couldn't really see their faces. Like, I do think that was on purpose.
I don't expect any significant changes in the art style. Totally it's possible that during the development they could change art styles. In Street Fighter V that happened. Famously, one of the initial things for Street Fighter V was a much more realistic take on the game, and we have seen screenshots of that even.
And it looked awful, by the way.
And it did not look good at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
So they changed that style drastically, but all that was before we even saw any of the game at all. So I think that it's probably going to be more or less like this. I mean, it's a trailer, it's not gameplay, so it's probably not going to look exactly like that. But yeah, I do expect it to be more or less that kind of style. Sure.
I understand. I think it's going to be RE Engine for sure.
Someone actually pointed out that they are a 3D graphic artist, and that they even went to the foot pick here, and they pointed out some of the angles that they noticed, and they're like, as a 3D artist, I am 100% positive this is in-game models. So
okay.
That's what they were saying. So it might just be that, the RE engine is just that crazy, right? The RE engine is really nice looking. And frankly,
look at Devil May Cry.
Once we get to the point where, what I'm assuming is going to happen is that the characters are going to be much smaller on screen, as they always are. We won't be seeing all the pores and stuff. That we'll lose. Like, it'll automatically obfuscate a little bit of that realism. But when they're doing supers and ultras and hexagon attacks and stuff like that, like, it's going to look pretty neat close up. And if this is the direction they're going, I think it's cool. All the Street Fighter games look very different, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to point out that Ryu is wide in every game from the front side because his model turns at like a 3/4 turn. So they purposely make him a thick boy. Like, that's not... Granted, he seems very large in that teaser, but I think it'll look much better in-game is what I'm saying, because the angle that he stands at generally.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm pretty fine with the graphics. First of all, it doesn't like super matter to me, to be perfectly honest. But second of all, it's fine. I don't know. I think that the models look nice. It's just really, it's going to depend on how it looks all in like gameplay context. Right. And obviously we haven't seen that yet. And I'm just going to not really have like a great opinion on it until I get to see that, which there will be more news coming in summer 2022.
That's an interesting time frame, right? Summer 2022. That's usually not when things are announced for fighting games, are they?
I don't know. It could be at Evo, I think is what you're getting at. That would totally make sense.
If
I think that would be nice.
6 is not playable at Combo Breaker, I'm not going. Take that, Rick. Better get someone else to run your auctions, bud.
Dude, previously you've said you wouldn't miss Combo Breaker, like, even if it's like like regardless of personal harm.
He wants to get his hands on that big Montana himself, man. He
definitely does.
Yeah.
He definitely will. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, it won't be. We're going to not have a playable version of this for quite a long time, I would imagine. There's no hint on, when it actually comes out, although, again, don't expect it for a while at this point. Anything else to say about the trailer and characters itself?
Luke looks way better.
He does look better. I agree.
I saw Luke and I was like, oh my God, he actually looks kind of neat, I'm not going to say he looks cool. He looks good for a model and everything. I don't think Luke, the character, is going to look cool to me at all ever. But, he looks really nice. Like, the hair quality is really good. The cloth,
way
the
better.
folds on the cloth, and like just the motions, the movement, etc., etc. He looks really cool.
He looks a lot less like I'd question where he was on January 6, 2021. He looks a lot less like that. He's still a little bit like that.
Dang.
But looks a lot less like that. So yeah, that's an improvement. I will say,
good night, everybody.
I think it is super whack that Capcom had a 7-day countdown to give us a 39-second teaser, and 10 seconds of that was the logo that everyone hates.
Yeah.
So they didn't need a countdown for that. I really wish there was some sort of gameplay, just anything. But yeah, I think that was Also, it's really weird to time your release with a timer for an event that doesn't have a definite stop time.
Yeah.
Like, that was what a weird choice. Like, I knew that timer was going to run out, and if Capcom Cup wasn't done, that they were not going to show anything on that website until it was. Like, it was real obvious. And people were like, "Why isn't going anywhere?" I was like, "Come on, guys! It's definitely meant to end at Capcom Cup."
Yeah, the timer should not have been there, but for sure,
that was a bad move.
They needed to announce something. right? Because if they didn't, people would have been mad, right? And they probably weren't ready to show any more than this, and now people are mad. It's kind of a lose-lose situation right now for
Just
them.
don't have a countdown. Just say,
Right.
hey, stick around after Capcom Cup or whatever ceremony, and it'll be great. And there's a trailer or something. There's a surprise. That's all they had to do. Hey, there's a surprise.
Yeah.
No, don't worry about a countdown.
I mean, I'm fine with the countdown. I don't know. I'm not mad about that.
I think it was just a weird marketing choice.
It is like a really big game. It got a lot of people talking about it. It got a lot of people to watch, and I think that that's all effective. I mean, sure, I would have, of course, liked a more substantial trailer. Like that's where the issue is, in my opinion. That's where the issue is, rather than having the timer. I thought the timer was good marketing.
I would have been okay. Would have been okay with the very short teaser if they didn't hype it up so much. I think the timer is what made that disappointing for me.
Also, you know what's hilarious is that as people were waiting to watch that trailer, I was getting in my ear, all right, fill a little bit more time. All right, David, fill a little bit more time.
You saw me on our
analyst desk.
Literally, I was just
everybody in the room.
Keyboard.
Yeah.
Marine
all right,
too. Marine.
We gotta fill a little bit more time here. Like I was cracking up internally.
Dude, me and Brian F were sitting there in the lounge, and we were like, God, I'm so glad we don't have to be there right now. I'm glad we're not on the desk right
Everybody
now.
hated you. Yeah, everyone hated you. It was the worst.
Well, it was. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Did anybody at the event go, that's it? Nobody that I talked with was like that nonplussed about it. But, you know, we're like at an event in person. Like, we're hype anyway. Like, we're probably not the best, like we're probably more likely to get hype considering all those other things. Like, we're there in person.
But should you cry over Ryu's foot? Is the question for Sankola. Sankola almost lost his mind when Ryu's foot showed up.
He is just an excitable dude. Let me tell you this. You think he's making it up, but he absolutely not.
No, I don't think he's making it up. I'm saying he was almost crying from seeing Ryu's foot. I didn't almost cry until I saw Ryu's dick, is what I'm getting at here. He should have waited a little bit longer, and then it would have been worth the reaction, I think. That's all.
Let me tell you, the first time he got hype, we haven't talked about it yet, but they also announced Capcom Fighting Collection, which has games like Red Earth. This dude got so hype for Red Earth. When he saw Red Earth, he went wild. He was pounding the desk.
He just really like Leo? Is he just a big Leo fan?
So hard that the Red Bull cans actually fell down. Like for Red Earth, he's just an excitable guy who really likes fighting games. Like it's very authentic.
Just wanted to Red Bull those cans, man.
Yeah, but Tasty Steve was just like, all right, yeah, good job, Capcom. That's really cool. That's really cool. And then Sankola playing the Tasty Steve role. It was just like,
that's just him. He's really not making it up.
I'm just saying, there's always that guy. Whether it's Tasty Steve or Sankola, there's always going to be that guy.
Look, I just want to say, since we brought it up already, I'm super hyped for that collection. Again, I was a big fan of the Anniversary Collection. I know a lot of people out there weren't, but this one seems to be a little bit more robust. It seems to have more training modes.
VSAB with rollback. That's cool.
What's in it? What's in it? So it has all the Darkstalkers, all right? Then it also has Red Earth, Cyberbots.
By the way, all three Darkstalkers, because those last
Did two ever get a console release?
Those last two never really count. Darkstalkers 2, aka Night Warriors, was on Saturn. And it was a great port. It was the Saturn was the perfect ports.
Red Earth, Cyberbots, Hyper Street Fighter 2, Super Gem Fighter Minimix, and Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. They all have rollback netcode, and all the fighting games will have training modes. It's going to be $40. It's going to release on June 24th on PlayStation 4, Xbox, Switch, and PC. So
is Red Earth a fighting game? Is there going to be a training mode in Red Earth?
Fighting game?
It's a fighting game.
Yeah, but you don't get verses from the get-go. You have to earn verses,
it's like half
right?
versus. It's like a half fighting, half RPG kind of game.
Yeah,
so.
There are four, if I recall correctly, 4 playable characters that you can do verses with.
Yes.
And I don't know, maybe they'll allow you to play with the other characters. I guess we'll see. I wouldn't be too surprised because they're changing it for training mode at least.
And Veritas, the reason why they probably didn't do it for all those games is because they just weren't as good at it Like, I'm sure what they learned from doing the training modes for the games in 30th anniversary, they probably got better, because it even looks like there's input display and stuff like that on there as well from the Cyberbots footage. I'm sure they've spent some time trying to get better at it. It'd be awesome if they patch that into all of the 30th anniversary, but I really don't think that's happening.
When's Rival Schools, man? They keep putting out these classics, and they never. Why no Rival Schools ever?
Like, is there like an IP issue or something?
Yeah, there must be. Like, do they not own the characters? Does Akira own the characters or something?
They are waiting until they hire me to make Rival Schools 3, and then they're gonna do the collection. I swear to God, my idea for Rival Schools 3 will be so sick. Like, it is the coolest game ever.
Arika, not Akira. Yeah.
All right. So
hire me for Rival Schools 3, Capcom, please.
So this logo, right? What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this logo for Street Fighter 6? If people haven't heard about this yet, so here's how it looks. Apparently, also there is a what is it?
It's Adobe.
Adobe
Right.
it is. Yeah,
I've seen two different.
There's an Adobe stock thing that looks extremely similar to this SF with the hexagon around it.
I've also seen a different site with a stock logo that looks very similar to this.
Okay.
I just don't think that this is particularly hard to come up with.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's Street Fighter 6. What do we want to do to represent? Let's put a hexagon. Let's throw the letters in here. Wow.
See, hexagon because it's the 6th. Duh, right?
But then also very deep. You don't get it. It's your
however, there may be a double meaning here, because also Luke is supposed to be like an MMA fighter, and he fights in the hexagon, everybody.
Right. Now, having said all that...
That's an octagon.
Having said that...
You don't know that. You don't know how it is in Capcom.
I do.
In the Capcom universe, he fights in a sexagon.
A sexagon, huh?
Yeah, that's equally valid as hexagon. They both mean 6, but in different
languages.
But
no one says.
Sorry, everybody. It's called a sexagon as well. It's equally valid.
All right, what are your hopes for Street Fighter?
Don't be weird.
Here's the thing.
I mean, Street Fighter 6, James.
Having said all of that, though, I don't like the logo very much. But again, a lot of people know this already. I am not a fan of flat, simplistic logos like this. I want the old school fighting game logos. They're always big. They're crazy. And Street Fighter has always had the red, orange, yellow gradient hit tinge to it, and Street Fighter written out in crazy ways. Like, I just like that's the kind of logo that appeals to me.
Well, the future's now, old man, and the future is monotone and gray and boring and everything looks like it could be a fucking app.
And you're right, exactly. There's no outline to anything. It has to be nothing but solid colors, and
it has to fit on an app like that, because it's going to be involved with the Street Fighter 6 companion mobile app, which will allow you to send your characters around to various missions that you have to select on the mobile app. You can only send them a few times per day. And if you want to speed it up, you can pay some Street Fighter bucks in order to.
I've already said
speed it up.
That I don't
That's it.
like.
This is gonna happen, everybody. And that logo right there is gonna have your notifications on the app.
For sure.
If you look at Street Fighter 5 and you look at Guilty Gear Strive and you look at KOF 15, all the UIs are boring now, and it drives me up the wall. Like, when that 35th anniversary comes out, and you see that every fucking machine in Cyberbots has a different UI, including the main boss, whose meter is charged up by the skulls around his life bar, that you see how far he's charged up because the eyes and the skulls light up. Like, you're gonna understand how cool UIs for fighting games can actually look. Okay.
Well, I don't really care too much about this logo thing.
I want it to look like I'm in a Chipotle every time I play a fighting game.
Chipotle.
That's how UI look.
I definitely understand why people don't like this logo. It's quite uninteresting, but I also don't care.
I mean, I do.
Personally, I don't.
I do a little bit. Just because, like I said, all the previous Street Fighter games have had a very consistent style with the name. Like if you look at Street Fighter all the way through Street Fighter 5, it's been pretty consistent. The fonts are different, but the stylings of it, the colors have been the same and everything like that. And you know, I just feel
also the first numbered Street Fighter without Roman numerals.
Whoa.
All of them have had Roman numerals.
Yeah.
So, all new beginnings. I do want to address something before we get off this because we're way past time.
For sure.
Onomisu in the chat said it's a placeholder. Guys, this is not. They may change the logo now because of the bad reception.
Oh, they
this
definitely
was
will.
A placeholder. They put hours and hours and hours and hours into market research trying to figure out what people would like. This was a very serious, not play. You don't launch shit with placeholder logos, guys. That's not how things work. Not how it works at all. You don't make a launch with a placeholder and say, "I will fix it later." You do that with like bugs in games, but this is like the branding. You don't fuck with branding. So they may change it now. They probably, like James said, will change it now. But it definitely was not placeholder. That's not how things work.
Yep, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
They definitely wanted the hexagon theme there. But you put the hexagon there and you write the entire Street Fighter word across the hexagon in black, red, orange, yellow gradients, you know, with cool, exciting letters.
Well, we'll see if they do that. All right, before we move on, give me one character who you wouldn't necessarily expect to be in the launch roster, but who was, like in the last game where randomly Nash showed up and Mika and Birdie. Nobody cared about any of those characters, and they all came back. Which character that nobody cares about comes back in Street Fighter 6 launch roster?
Eagle comes back.
Actually, excellent answer, to be honest.
Saddam.
They have to change his name.
Well, not only that, I've heard there's other reasons why they couldn't get him into 5 either. So, yeah.
Okay. My answer is...
Don't say 12, otherwise I'll be...
I'm not. I know that it will not be 12. Yeah. However, I'm gonna say Remy.
14.
Remy, huh?
I'm gonna say it's Remy. I think Remy or Necro are really like totally plausible. I think they're both cool already, but like you could change them in a way that would make them maybe
I
more
do think they put more third strike characters in this game.
That's I think so too.
I've already said if I made a Street Fighter 6, it would be a spiritual sequel to the 3. I would make it parry focused.
People are demanding they push forward the story. Everything's been a prequel to 3.
But
people are demanding it.
Okay, let's talk about this a little bit. I know we're out of time here, but
we're way past time. We're way past time.
We don't need stories. Like Street Fighter's not about stories.
False.
Right.
No.
You are no way, James. You cannot host a whole show about KOF and then say Street Fighter story doesn't matter. They are equally important.
No. Street Fighter story has never made sense. Like they can't even get their own. KOF story makes a lot of sense, dude. Like there is so much. Characters disappear from the game because they are injured or they have kids or they're training. Like
how many Noels are in that game?
Doesn't happen. There are no Noels in that game.
How many Noels are in that game? Look, fighting game storylines, none of them are good, and the closest are all NRS. That's it.
Yeah, that's
the closest any fighting game storyline to being good is NRS.
Chun-Li fought Bison in Alpha Series because he killed her father. And then after defeating him, he reveals that he killed her father. And then she gets really pissed about it. So now she wants revenge against Bison for killing her father. That's like literally the ending sequence of Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3.
Hugo wants to be a potato. They're very bad stories.
Yeah,
it would be nice if they made it a real story.
Right? Gil stole Dudley's car. It doesn't matter. That's the thing. Street Fighter is not about that. KOF
but
is about that.
It could be and it should be. It could be and it should be. It won't be, but it could be and it should be. All right. Are we good here?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
That's the beautiful thing about it, right? Because they can bring back a fucking Bison again, even if Shadowloo's gone. They don't have to get rid of him just because
that character's in KOF 15.
Dude, Nash is like his face is sewn back together.
Yeah. There's a reason for it too, because I just think they're equally dumb. I'm not saying the Street Fighter is less dumb. I'm saying they're both awful, like equally bad. Fighting game storyline.
All right. What else happened? Oh, yeah, this Capcom season final, the CPT. All right, here's what happened. There were a whole bunch of matches that we don't have to recap all of them, but there were 20 different matches for people around the world instead of having the Capcom Cup. Obviously, there's an Omicron variant going around. They canceled the Capcom Cup event, and they did this instead. Before, I guess we'll maybe talk about a couple of the matches, maybe. But before that, James and I were there. And James, you want to talk about your perspective of it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, from a production side, from the side that we were on, I want to say it was actually one of my favorite events. I feel like that I've ever worked on. I was really happy with, the production quality, the production value. And yeah, it definitely moved a little bit more towards the quote esports unquote side of things. But, I have been shouting from the rooftops for years about how we can do that and still be like inside the NBA on TNT when Ernie, Kenny, and Charles are like yelling at each other and memeing at each other and just saying stupid things. And I felt like we got to do that. And I felt like that was the greatest part about it. At the analyst desk, we were allowed to be idiots. We were making jokes about beating Ken's meat and like making puns. And like we didn't have to dress in blazers or anything like that. I mean, you were just wearing t-shirts like the whole time, right? So like
I wore a 10-year-old t-shirt, and it was even a t-shirt that like made fun of Capcom kind of because it was
and was one of the darkest histories of Capcom ever. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so I really was happy about that. And even while we were there, I felt like the we were taken care of nicely and everything, but also it's just, I thought the production was really cool. I don't know, like the whole thing for me, I felt like we got to be professional, but we got to be fighting game community. You know what I mean? Like I felt like we didn't lose our personality. We got to be kind of who we are naturally. I mean, obviously we're not going to be dropping F-bombs left and right on the commentary and stuff like that, but we still got to show off our personalities, and I really like that. So.
We haven't done that on commentary since like 2012, so
What's that?
we've been past that. Just dropping F-bombs.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The occasional slip-up happens, but...
Yeah, no, you're...
Anyways,
right.
David, how do you feel about all that?
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. It was a lot of work. It was my first time doing an entire weekend of just the hosting duties. I have done that in the past for briefer stretches, but that was basically four days of herding cats and of trying to pay attention to like which next two things are going to be coming up, and trying to pay attention as well to what other people around me are saying at the same time, so that I can like respond or decide who should talk next or whatever. So it was definitely more mentally engaged, I guess, than regular commentary, which is, it takes brain power for sure, but it's like, maybe I'm just so used to it. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's like difficult at this point. But for hosting, it was definitely it required more brain power, I think, than the normal stuff that I do.
Your role was crazy.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
You were there from the start to the end. You had zero breaks, dude. It was,
it's true, I had no breaks.
To you. More power to you.
It was pretty tiring, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that, and I appreciated the opportunity for sure. Very happy with how it went. I'll tell people when I think that I didn't do well, but I also think that I did do well this time. So I really appreciated it. And as far as like, was it esports? Definitely. It's like obviously esports, like of course. We had to shill products, like it's definitely esports. It had the very fancy background for sure, but it's like this hybrid, which I am okay with, which I'm cool with. Of it's FGC esports. It's not how other game scenes do esports, but of course it's esports. It's just an FGC take on that. Many of the people involved in the behind the scenes, like the production crew, are FGC folks. Like one of the dudes who was helping us run the CPT all year, in fact, is a Honda player, and like he was going to our locals as well, like with everybody else before before COVID hit, and even other people who, I guess I don't know if it's like public that they work there or not, so I'm not going to say, but like there are other people lots of people know who also work there at the same time. So it's an FGC kind of crew. And yeah, I mean, I thought that it was a good mix of like, look, we have like stuff we need to do. We have to show these products. Capcom wants to announce the thing at a certain time, so David like drag on a little bit and let everybody just like stare at me while they're hating me as I'm like blathering on to try to hit this specific time.
I mean,
but like at the same time, yeah, we definitely got our personalities across, and I had a lot of fun.
There was definitely times where me and Jeremy, like even just at like combo break or something, we had to like talk forever because one of the players went to the bathroom and everybody's yelling at us.
Everybody
and they're like, stretch. Yeah,
Yep.
and so, it happens all the time, right? And I just want you to know, you might have been shilling some of those products. I only read Arby's stuff, and there was definitely genuine love and passion.
That's
for
true.
Arby's.
You are a big Arby's fan.
I
for real.
ate 2 beef and cheddars and 1 chicken sandwich and a mozzarella stick that weekend, and I was happy. So I even got home again. Olaf is a big Arby's fan as well, and like him and Kitty were like, "Where's our Arby's? Did you bring us any Arby's home, dude?" Like,
should have.
Dude, I am definitely, like I said, I have all the history of Arby's. I know their menu by heart. I love their stuff, dude. There was no shilling on my part.
I actually didn't eat any Arby's meat because I don't usually eat meat sandwiches. It's like I'm not opposed to it. I don't never do it, but I didn't. I assumed that there was cheese or like otherwise something that I didn't want to mix milk and meat or whatever in there, so I didn't even open it up.
Sure.
But I did have the curly fries, and curly fries were good, so I can vouch for that.
The chicken sandwich would have worked for you. That's just lettuce, tomatoes, chicken, and bread.
Well,
yeah, that's it. There's no cheese on those.
What are you gonna do? Yeah, all right. I hope people enjoyed it, but I guess that's it from my end.
The meats.
What did you think as somebody watching it? And I'm sure you were stuck closely like glue to every minute of this Street Fighter V event.
I don't like Street Fighter V. Everybody knows that. Not my favorite game. But I actually did watch the majority of it. And before I talk about what I think about the event and everything that went along with it, I just want to say I was so happy to be watching it because I'm so ridiculously proud of how talented my friends are. Aww. You guys fucking killed it. David, you were incredible on the desk. It's like you've been doing it your entire life. James, your commentary was on point. I think it was some of your best commentary you've had in a very long time. And I don't mean that like derogatorily. I think you just fucking nailed it, dude. Marine, I'm so very proud of.
Yeah.
I think she has a bright future in the FGC if she wants it.
Agreed.
So I watched it because of that. I wasn't watching for Street Fighter. Yeah. I was watching because David was on the desk literally saying whatever stupid shit was on his mind. I was watching because James looked like he was happy in his element again, So it wasn't really about the Street Fighter or anything like that. I thought everything was great. Everybody there killed it. Everybody was great on commentary. I loved how the desk worked. It just seemed like a really good time overall for you guys. I think my biggest complaint was the commentary camera looked uncomfortable. Like it didn't look like you guys were very comfortable in that. Like it seemed cramped. But that's like my biggest complaint is the commentators didn't look comfy. Like that's. I thought it was a great event. I'm super impressed that Capcom was able to throw that together so quickly and pivot and.
Shout out to Blue Coast. Honestly, they're the ones.
It was super impressive.
Yeah, they're the production crew.
Yeah.
It was great. I had a great time watching it. I really, really did. Also, praise be, thank you. Street Fighter V can now die. I hate you. Burn in hell. Let's go Street Fighter 6. So happy about that announcement officially.
I mean,
can't wait.
From my perspective, like I just felt like from the matches perspective, like I thought the matches were good. I'm sad there weren't more close matches.
There was a lot of blowouts, man. I felt like the players wanted to see that teaser just as much as we did.
There were literally 2 5-4s out of the 20.
There's a lot of blow-ups.
But I mean,
there were a lot of blow-ups.
As for the results, though, I think there was a lot of important things. Like I'm glad that Higuchi and Kuwano both won their matches. Although I swear to God, it looked like Mago did not practice at all for this or something. But it was really cool to see the younger generation in Japan, just start to do their work. I think it's pretty clear that if we do get a patch in March, that Luke and maybe Boxer needs to be
Definitely Luke at
Leave
least.
Boxer alone.
Yep. Definitely Luke at least.
I actually would like to leave Boxer alone. I actually don't even think Boxer's even close to being broken. He's just really good against some of those specific characters, basically, that are really strong. But Luke needs to be a little toned down, for sure.
A Mike Lee story. I heard about that. I heard that as soon as his match was over, he was streaming Vampire. That is so funny. It's like right in there. That's great. Yeah, I mean, the matches, I thought that some of them were fun. Of course, the best one for sure was Idom versus Punk, where Punk ended up winning 5-4, and it was super close. Really, really good set. Like, I am glad that one happened to be towards the end of things. Like, it's towards the end of things because it's like two like really well-known players. Obviously, they're really good. So that was a good call. But like, it happened to be that was the best match of the whole weekend. Shout out to those guys.
I agree with Jihad Joe in the chat as well. And I don't feel like they're rushing Street Fighter 6. I feel like if it was the 5 era, Street Fighter 6 would already have come out, and we would have a arcade modeless, no one-player content Street Fighter 6 already. And I'm glad they're taking their time. They did announce, don't forget, that there will be a Capcom Pro Tour 2022. So that was officially announced, just with one little slide.
That's true.
So I don't think we're done with Street Fighter 5 yet.
We're not.
Oh no, we'll have the farewell year, but whatever. Everybody's gonna be thinking about 6. Can't wait for 6, baby. Give me that Street Fighter 6 companion app. I'm doing it. I'm putting all my fighters all over the world, and I'm practicing every day.
Let me guess, Tubo. When Street Fighter 6 comes out and is honest, now you're really going to be able to show the people how you do without all of the bullshit mechanics.
The dumbest cheap shit possible. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What, I don't want honesty. I'm not an honest fighter. What does that even mean? I'm a scumbag.
Give me the zany stuff.
Here, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get wild out there. For Street Fighter 5, I felt like, as we've talked about before, I do wish that they had not canceled Capcom Cup and instead had postponed. Because even literally like next month, there's a very good chance that we could run a big event without being super concerned. Yeah. And, some places in the US at least are opening up. Well, everything's open. I mean, they're not requiring even mask mandates anymore in some places. So is that a good idea? I don't know. But it does mean that the situation is very different than it was when they canceled it at the beginning of this year. So I wish that they had waited a little bit.
I want to address one thing. Rio Ayanami in the chat says, still don't know what honest means. Honest basically means you're winning in the game in whatever microcosm that you've determined is fair and valid. When I hear Rod TV talk about how Karin is honest and footsie's based and,
Dude, imagine thinking that character's fair. Like, she's good and she should be good. And it's good that she's cheap. You know what I mean? Those are all positives. Don't pretend that she's not any of those things, though. She's obviously really good and cheap. And it's extremely strong with the stuff that she does, which is cool. That's not bad. Anyway, so I other than the Idom and Punk one, I don't even know if any matches really stuck out in my mind. I'm looking back now through the results.
Daigo's baby comeback was exciting for a bit.
Yeah. He was down 5-1 or something, and he won 2, or 4-1, and he won 2, and then he obviously lost.
Blew it.
Yeah, he kind of blew it. Yeah, but there were several 5-0s. There were several 5-1s. I don't know what the deal is, really. I mean, I suspect that part of it is that some of these matches were the first place versus the second place in their respective regions. And that's, probably just it's better versus not as good player, to be honest.
Also,
and some of them seem like, as James said earlier, Mago seemed like he hadn't played fighting games in a couple of months. And some of the other
he was on Street Fighter League, so
I don't know how that could be. And then other players seem like maybe they just had other things going on and weren't entirely invested in the outcome.
Well, that was definitely true for one particular player. It's not my place to air out people's personal stuff, but I know one player that went 0-5 definitely had some very personal things going on in their life.
Okay.
Shout outs to them, by the way. But also another thing too is I think a lot of these players, yes, it's stressful playing in the Capcom Cup qualifier, but you've already just gone through a bracket. You're kind of just like, you've been playing, you've got the adrenaline, you've won
You're
matches,
warmed up.
you're building up your confidence. Sure, you practice for this exhibition, but you know this is not like, hey, we're being streamed at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night in America. Like, this is 50K people watching you. Nerves will play a factor for that. And a lot of these players, that they're online players, they've never had that offline experience and stuff. So,
Well, do you guys actually know how the players were paid out too? Do you know if there's
Yeah.
any incentive to actually win? Did they get more money if they won? Okay.
Hey, James, and what's the format for what we're going to see this weekend?
so basically, the person who won the qualifier already received $5,000, and then this match here was for an extra $5,000.
That's what I thought. That's what they did last year too, right?
Yeah, and
think so.
honestly, like you look at someone like Rob TV. Rob TV came out the best out of everybody. Because Nephew, although he won both of the qualifiers, he lost to Chris ECH in the exhibition. Rob TV won both of his qualifiers, and he won the exhibition. He got like $15,000 for this, man.
Not bad.
Pretty sweet.
Make sure you put some aside for taxes, Rob.
Yeah. I can recommend you a good a tax guy if you need it, Rob. Just let me know.
How many of them just split it? I'm sure some did. Like Angry Bird and Big Bird is my guess.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Yeah. But others, in fact, I bet probably most did not. But there probably were some. Yeah. And then there was, just talking about Rob versus Brian, I thought this is kind of a funny story. So they played, obviously I wasn't where they were playing, but, we could hear them like yelling sometimes. And specifically, I should say, we could hear Rob yelling. And then after the actual match, he was like yelling even more. And Brian, after that, I saw him and he was like, Rob like needs the enemy. Like he needs the bad guy who like he has to like really get hyped up to beat. Like that's his like way of motivating himself. Fine, everybody's got their own way of doing it. But Brian was like, he has to like invent somebody to hate. Like he and I are really good friends, and like he doesn't wish anything bad for me. But like for those like however long that took, he has to like hate the other guy. Ugh, yeah. Brian F. Ugh, that guy's I hate that guy. And then like after that, he's all like on adrenaline. He's like, yeah. And then, then he's just like, all right, hey, Brian.
Dude, yeah. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that too, because another player that was like that from the OG days was a very similar big trash talker and stuff. And I beat him at B4, I beat him at B5. And at one point in time, I was talking to him. He was like, the reason why I have trouble against you is because I can't hate you. He was like,
wow.
I have trouble hating you, and I have trouble getting that fire. And it's true. It's like some players just need that, and it makes them.
Imagine not being able to hate James Chen. I hate you right now, James. Let's go. Fight me in real life.
I don't even know how that works. Dude, I think I'm a horrible human being. I'm surprised that everybody doesn't hate me.
Jesus Christ.
Seriously, dude.
False.
Oh, man.
All right, anything else to say on this event?
Just
it was
really,
cool.
Yeah,
it was
really
cool.
Overall, a lot of fun, and just being a part of it actually was really cool. And I say this just genuinely because I really did enjoy being there and being a part of it. Obviously I wasn't involved the previous year, though I imagine the previous year was probably very bare bones compared to this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, it was wonderful.
Yeah,
it was
a
great.
big improvement.
Everybody seemed to be having a great time. Everyone seemed really happy with everything. And I mean, like I said on my tweets, the only thing that I'm sad about is I just thought I looked terrible on camera. And I saw Josh Collard put up some pictures that he took, and there's a picture of me sitting in the chair, but it's from the side view, and I just look like a giant blob, and it's just like, it's absolutely mortifying, and so I definitely need to do something about that. So,
well, I will say, as Tubbo was saying earlier, the angle that they had for the commentators was not very flattering. It's not very nice.
Dude, it was better than the side view. Let me just put it that way. Okay, I looked better from the front than I did from the side. Let's just put it that way.
Shout out to everybody who was there. It was so nice seeing so many people who I had not seen in at least 2 years. Some of those players for a lot longer than 2 years. So that was really cool. Had a lot of fun.
I definitely got a lot of good hugs in there. I was happy.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for this. So you want to take a break?
Let's bring on my boy.
Let's bring on the boy. We're going to bring on Blacktastic, who's used to be and still is part of the FGC, but has really gone on to move into the speedrunning community. So we'll be bringing him on to talk about that and maybe try to get his thoughts on Street Fighter 6 as well or something. We'll see what happens. But we'll be right back, guys. Do not go away. See you soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Tuesday show, and we're going to be moving on to the next section where we have our interview for the day. Tubo, who do we have on today?
We have on my boy, TheBlacktastic.
All right, let's bring him on. Hello. Whoa, what is that background? What?
He's in the digital age.
I'm right inside Metal Gear Solid 1.
Are you in
here.
Tron? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was about to say Tron. Dude. Seriously.
You're both showing your age. You're both very much showing your age.
Hey, there was a more recent Tron, all right? Leave me alone.
Yeah, in like 2008, man.
Was that old too? Oh, no.
Yeah. It's a long time ago.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, Bobby, thanks for joining us and coming on the show. For those of you that don't know, Bobby is a Marvel extraordinaire, but also a pretty all-right speedrunner. Just came back from Sweden from an event. And what we usually like to do is ask you about your FGC origin story. How did you start playing fighting games? When, where, and why, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, first off, I'm really happy to be here. Super
thanks
excited
for coming
to be, talking, shooting it up with a whole bunch of you. FGC origin story. So the very first fighting game that I really wanted to get good at was actually, I was born and raised on Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo and all that stuff. But what really gripped me was actually Guilty Gear X2 for the PlayStation 2, way back.
I didn't actually even know that.
Oh yeah. This is way back. I found it for $10 at a Blockbuster bargain bin, and then I was looking at the back of the package, and it was whoa, heavy metal and anime and fighting game. Yeah, I'll try it. And it ended up being really sick. I really enjoyed the game from a casual standpoint. Back in what was it 07, 08 is where I tried to be into the fighting game community through forums Dustloop and SRK were still king. There was no face, very seldom were there Facebook events for meetups and all that stuff. It was still in its infancy at its time. So Dustloop ended up meeting up with a friend from out in Macedonia or something. Was 40 minutes out.
Whoa, okay.
Absolutely wiped the floor with me. Did not know anything about any mechanics. Didn't know how to block, I guess. And it was pretty much it was pretty much the skill gap was there. But we ended up hanging out and still learning. And we actually ended up being into one of the organizers for Seasons Beatings, their weekly local meetups. So then I was introduced to a plethora of fighting games, a lot of retro fighting games too, Marvel 2. And
was that Fuji or Chris Gallion?
That was Gallion.
Okay, got it.
That was Gallion. So every Wednesday we headed up to his place. He had a basement full of these retro arcade games, and my mind as a kid was being blown. Also being hustled by a whole bunch of Tekken players. Oh yeah, I don't play this game. Yeah, go ahead. Gladly my whoopings were for free. But still I ended up learning a lot and getting into the tournament organization scene, because obviously one of the organizers of Seasons Beatings was there. We actually ended up hosting and working with a lot of the local fighting game communities in Northeast Ohio for a lot of cool regionals. Obviously Seasons Beatings was home to Ohio and all that stuff. So ended up getting a lot of organization experience, a lot of commentary experience, a lot of hopping on, calling matches for Street Fighter 4, and I love me some Marvel 3. Marvel 3 is it was what kind of started it all for me for traveling and all that.
That's where I thought that's where I thought your actual origin story was. I didn't know you even played Guilty Gear before.
I tried.
Marvel 3.
I very well tried. Then,
he's played Guilty Gear.
Yeah. How'd you get FGC? Yeah, that's a Guilty Gear. But how'd you get good, or how'd you get kind of known? That's definitely Marvel 3.
Yeah, that's definitely when we met as the Marvel 3 days. And you spoke a little bit about commentary before we move on to other stuff. How did that start? What game did you start commentating? Was that Marvel 3 and where?
It was locals for like Street Fighter 4 and Super Street Fighter 4 because like I was like helping my locals and regionals, out like any way that I can. And I really definitely did love doing like the on the mic podcasting thing. Really making things exciting and hype. There were a lot of people that I looked up to in the FGC, basically for that. So I was like one of those hopefuls. Marvel 3 wasn't until I think it was like whenever all like 6 or 7 that I like went out to like the East Coast and started chopping it up with one of the smaller streams there, and started like getting on the mic for there. Then
chopping it up. So what you're saying is you were a mic vulture.
Yeah,
you were a mic vulture. I know the moves,
but everyone was. I mean, that's how it was.
At some point, you were. Yeah, everyone was a mic vulture. It's okay.
Not look. Vi pulled me onto the microphone.
Okay, not me either. But like, other than literally us two,
to do it.
Like literally, we were the only exceptions.
I got forced to do it too. It wasn't. I didn't try. But anyways, everybody's a mic vulture. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, but judging from like how kind of like accessible it was to like get on the mic there, because like there was a lot of not only like talent for commentary was developing, but like production for streams were too. So it was very much a community effort at like helping each other grow in that aspect to like make this the grand stage that it's supposed to be for competitive esports. Like from like then till like now, like I do a lot of commentary for I don't know if you know about Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. But I've actually casted the Battle for the Grid League Finals. Nice. I've done the Combo Breaker Look Alive for Top 8, and also Dream Band Beyond and like all that. So very still wanting to be a part of the the casting scene and like in that fighting game community, because like Power Rangers Battle for the Grid kind of like is like the like new Marvel for me, like in a way. Yeah, so I kind of like hold on to that a little bit much.
Do you play it a lot though? Are you competitive in Power for the Grid?
I not as competitive as like like I was like traveling for like Marvel 3, but it's a really nice game that you can like hop on any platform and try to go through its rollback netcode and all that stuff. There's still there's still a very dedicated scene for it. Right, I mean, like and they've been casting their tournaments at the FGC events that have gone offline and all that stuff. So still a very young growing force that I'd like to see blossom sometime soon.
It was at Frosty's. I mean, I saw people playing it there and heard commentary for it for sure. So you were playing Marvel 3. Can you talk a little bit about how your playing career went in that game?
Not really anything like all that stellar.
Let's talk about that, Bobby.
I think I was one of like 5 to 7 Captain America teams playing in that, but I ended up making a couple of top 16. Got like 1 to 2 lousy Evo points back then. I actually didn't end up going to Evo, but like it was still a really good experience, because like I really cared about growth in that game, and like kind of like traveling from like Midwest to East Coast, and like seeing the power levels or the skill levels of like people from like all these different regions was like it was so like stimulating in that sense that like because you can be like really good at your locals or really good at your regionals, but then you can just get completely mopped by a Ghost Rider Phoenix Doom combination, and you're just like, okay, all right, I gotta lab it up for this, this specific moment.
That sounds like it's autobiographical.
Excuse the projection, but
Now, have you and Tubo ever played in a tournament or anything?
Not in a tournament, but we have played in a couple of exhibitions where I did Storm TAC Infinite Him on Parsec. But
nice.
Okay, but what was the score of that first to 50?
I forget. Twitch deletes its VODs like every 14 days.
I believe it was like 50 to 38. It was close.
Oh, that's not bad.
It was the first time he ever beat me in a set.
Okay,
it's true. That's true.
But yeah, it's
the last one that counts. That's the one that hurts.
Even so, at one of these charity speedrunning events like that just took place last week, Tubo sends in this like however much donation with a comment of, "Oh, you still got to see me in next game though," and
Yeah.
we're talking about this today. And I'm gonna use this platform because you're bullying me. And I want like $200 offline, wherever you want to meet up. It's got to happen. Marvel 3.
Let's go.
Combo breaker.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Combo breaker.
Combo breaker.
Go.
On PS4, I'll do it.
On whatever. We can even go back to the glorious Xbox 360
or PC. Well, I can play 360, whatever console. I'll play on anything. Actually, I can cover it all.
All right. Well, you better be able to cover your
first to 50.
50. Oh my god.
How much?
You want
For how
$200
much?
first to 50.
How
For
much?
$200, first to 50.
250 each. So when I get
Come
500.
on, guys. All right, hash it out somewhere else.
All
so
right,
you
look. So obviously, fighting games are about competitive spirit and all that stuff like that. But in a way, speedrunning is kind of similar, right? So you have moved on to speedrunning. Talk to me about how that transition occurred and what are the similarities between speedrunning and fighting games?
So yeah, so we'll do this like starting back in like 2013 or something, when I really wanted to like stream, when when I was going to these tournaments and events and like casting, and I really wanted to be that's a certain personality in like the FGC, I'd say. Sure. So I tried streaming fighting games with a really dinky capture card, with a Acer laptop that was like $400, like integrated graphics. Like, it was really difficult, especially
laptop
with
1,000 degrees.
Yeah, with this like 1 megabyte upload, like it just wasn't happening. So
240p, baby.
yeah.
So, but at the same time, like when we were doing like local fighting game meetups, we always like ended up with like watching Twitch and like watching what was going on Twitch. And besides like the casted fighting game esports and all that stuff, there was speedrunning. There was people going for the best world record time in Super Mario 64 and like Mega Man and like all that. And that, that really fascinated me. And I'm pretty sure like a lot of other FGC members, as like a, it's still like a combination of inputs to get a resulted outcome. You're doing a lot of combos per se in this game.
Yes.
And and you're grinding this out to perfection. Right. So there was a couple games that I really wanted to play. Castlevania Symphony of the Night was one of my first ones, and that's when I started streaming this. And not only was the community like ever the more welcoming and accepting and like willing to help out, kind of like definitely like the fighting game community, when you just go to your locals for the first time, or are really trying out a new game or a new character, they kind of like took care of you in that way. And then there's also this really nice competitive spirit of the fighting game community, or of the speedrunning community, via these leaderboards. So you can, compete with your friends for like a really good time, or, compete to be the absolute best, because a lot of people were. And it was a lot of healthy competition, because where else would you find people like you, trying to get under 15 minutes in a Castlevania game for the regular Nintendo,
Right.
It was very, very niche community, just kind of like the FGC was when streaming was in its infancy. So
and you also get to talk smack to losers like Olaf Redlin, who you have defeated in Bloodstained. You have a better talk your smack to Mike right now,
Olaf.
dude. Talk your smack, right?
No, because he's gonna challenge me to KOF, and then it's gonna be all over. But no, like, and that's kind of it, right? Like a really nice overlap between like FGC and speedrunning, where you kind of want to be that sort of like perfectionist in a game that you love. For a game like Bloodstained, for like me and Olaf, it was a lot of nice fun characters with fighting game inputs that I can play on a hitbox or a fight stick, or anything like that, anything to make it cool, because we really liked that game. There's always like something for everyone, especially when it comes to picking a game in speedrunning.
So just like your fighting game career, I'm curious, like, what are some of the things that you have done in speedrunning?
One of the famous things that I've done in speedrunning was introduce people to a lot of fighting games.
Well done.
Yes,
Yeah,
well
let's go.
done.
Let's go.
That is a good way. Way
So
to be.
at various like the main like fighting, the main speedrunning event is like, games done quick, GDQ. Everyone kind of like knows about that. When they were doing like offline events, still they were doing like a partnership with like an anime convention, bringing their arcade cabinets over, and most would be like fighting games and like all that stuff. I've made the most amount of friends just sitting down on an Ultra Street Fighter 4 cabinet or Street Fighter 5 cabinet, introducing people to like, the game, and like, it's kind of like laughing along, because people love fighting games, and people also love being in that little like competitive spirit, building those bonds through camaraderie, and this very much like thing. And yeah, it was great. And then there's a whole nother like other aspect of it where a lot of these people come together for the charity cause as well. And I've taken notice to a lot of nice charity efforts within the FGC, and that were kind of kind of homegrown, like akin to those like GDQ like before it. People really do want to help, whether it's being good at a game or whether it's helping someone like on their feet with immediate aid. Like that overlap is really common within these two circles. I hope people get to realize that a little bit more.
Yeah. So I mean, to like kind of cut the story short for viewers out there, you transitioned to becoming a full-time streamer, and in doing that, I've noticed that you stream for charity often. How does that happen? Like I feel like I don't see enough streamers maybe doing that. So I'm curious how one goes about streaming for a charity, because I looked into it once for myself, and it seemed really difficult kind of just to get that going. So how did you make that happen?
No, I think the very thing that you got to do first of all is just like find a cause that like hits home to you. Whether it be trying to help people from starving, or building schools, or protecting trans kids, or like anything like that. Sure. You really need to find something that that resonates with you, because you'll be passionate about it the most, and you don't want to be like any sort of like fake whenever you try to like push for something. When it came to like doing the charity stuff that I'm into now, I've done a lot of business with helping people with with nourishment, and helping people get like clean water like around the world, because growing up in pretty poor parts of Northeast Ohio, there were very seldom chances where we actually had really clean running water from faucets and like anything like that. And I know there are people in a way worse position than I was way back then. So if we can get them that sort of like immediate aid, then that would be something that I can feel proud that to do. So definitely pick something that's with you, and stick with your community, because your community will definitely see you through it. And no matter how much you raise, whether it be tens or hundreds or thousands, something is still something. Something is still an amount. So you can definitely feel proud in something that you created to better help someone else, like in the future, in the long run, or immediately.
So when you're doing that as a streamer, how do you actually like make that happen though? Do the orders come to you? Do you like put feelers out there on Twitter? Do you search them down and contact them directly? Like, how do you go about making that process happen?
Yeah, well, so the site Tiltify kind of makes it a little bit more easier than ever for like,
is that tiltify.com?
Yeah, for the larger brand and like charities, and like there's still like there's an ever growing list of like local charities that you can benefit as well. There are, and for like the immediate aid, you can link like through like a chat bot or a command, like right to like a mutual aid fund, and then you can keep track of it through donations and like stuff like that. It'll probably be a little bit more work on your side, but you're already doing this. Why not push through it a little bit more, you know? But there are tools that that are out there that will help you, especially when it comes to interaction through the the viewers and you. You can also like use things like crowd control that would actually go right to the charity, and while you're spending money, you can like make little effects in the stream happen in real time. That was actually one of the things
that's pretty cool.
that we did in at ESA, and that was I was actually a part of, which was really, really cool.
Can you talk about that event?
Yeah, ESA was it's called the European Speedrunning Assembly. They actually have a rotation of charities that they do benefit. This year for the Winter 2022 event, it was for Alzheimerfonden, which was for the Swedish Alzheimer's Foundation, which we ended up raising over $100 for. It was their absolute largest that they've raised for the event. A lot of people came from all over the world for a week of speed running and all that stuff, and it was pretty magical. It's being at a controlled in-person event again, like. And everyone complied with the social the COVID restrictions and like all that stuff, so it was pretty contained.
Where did it take place?
Malmö, Sweden.
So you just came back
okay.
from Sweden then, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's it's kind of like the European GDQ and like that aspect where it's like but people come in from all over the world. Saw some people from the US as well that we met up with.
Nice.
And a lot of the people there are actually real fighting game enthusiasts. They're actually pretty good.
That's cool. Can you talk about how you choose which games to speedrun? Like, what attracts you to a game?
So this was like a pretty like tough part of me whenever I was like growing as a speedrunner, because there are really popular games that people will want to watch immediately. There are the Super Mario 64s. There are the Mega Man 2s,
Metroid.
Mega Man X's, and all that stuff.
Sure.
Metroid. I tried very hard to touch a little bit on that, but like through games that I loved like to begin with. Mega Man 9 and 10 were like really cool games that came out like way back then on the Nintendo Wii or like on very contemporary consoles, and they played a lot like the classic Mega Man games that they all loved, just like without like any of like the lag or like the archaic hardware that you'd have to gather. So there's a little bit of that, and kind of like going back to that Bloodstain thing, where there are extra characters in games that just play different, that have like a command list of sorts, and that are really fun to play. You can go fast, do like Hadoukens. Like most of my runs actually are on like a hitbox or a hitbox like controller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because if it really feels like a sort of like fighting game or like arcade platforming game in that way.
Is that a problem in the speedrunning community? Do people care about controller usage?
I don't think so all that much. I think the fighting game community kind of pushes for a little bit of accessibility within the ergonomics in that sort of a aspect. People already know about like the the SOCDs and like how controllers today are kind of like wired so that there are no like illegal inputs or like anything like that. So I think there's a bit of a big understanding.
Damn, James, it's just Tetris. It's just Tetris, dude. You gotta convince them to switch. You gotta convince them, man.
But see, that's a competition kind of thing, like direct competition. That's different than performative kind of like self. You're not fighting directly with somebody else, and I think that's where the difference comes from. But I still agree with you, Tubo. I would like to get them to move on to other controllers, but that's a whole nother topic. So,
Do you feel like there are similarities between how you pick which games to speedrun and how you pick which fighting games to play?
Or even fighting game characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say even like as far as fighting game characters, because there as many genres as there are fighting games, there are that that many archetypes within characters. You can either be like really like slow and methodical, you can be really execution heavy, or if you just want to go fast and like really make up for errors with cool flashier stuff, or even think of your routes or combos on the fly. You might be tuned to a more faster game.
Sure.
I think when it comes to picking a speed game, it's also just playing what you love, so that you don't get burnt out entirely.
Of course, yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead.
No, I want to give you a chance to brag here. What are your records? Like, what's your? Are you number one? Are you number two on any of these? Tell me all of your games.
Bobby is kind of godlike.
So yeah, up until recently, I had the world record for Mega Man 9 Proto Man mode.
Nice.
I am the Bloodstained Ultimate guy, so I have the category sweeps and all Ultimate records in Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 1, Curse of the Moon 2, and Bloodstained Ritual of the Night with Zangetsu, which I'll be getting. Yeah, like it just really quickly became a indie game series that I like really loved. But I've also done a little bit of work in Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 on the Sega Genesis. Yes, there are games for the Sega Genesis. But only the one. But yeah, I'm pretty much like a Mega Man and Castlevania kid.
Nice.
Like they're really great games, especially with the the additional collections that have come out. You can now play like the GBA games on like your Switch or on PC or anything like that. Opens up a whole world.
That counts as a different category, right? If you play on like the Mega Man Anniversary Collection, it's technically a different platform, different category, right? Or is it? Are you allowed to do that?
It's definitely a case by case when it comes to like video games, because like some games run on like IGT, which is like the in-game timer. Some platforms would load either faster or slower, but like it's just up like the community preference. When it comes to like the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, the only thing that is it's actually like slower, because on an actual like hardware where you put like the GBA to sleep mode or something like that, like you actually need to go into a menu to do that. It's really weird. I'm sorry. Like I feel like it's like the frame data of speedrunning. Like when you do this, it saves like a couple of Yeah.
One of my favorite things when watching speedrunning is the lingo. I love the lingo. I mean, I like lingo in just like in general. It's something I'm very interested in, and it's always cool to me to hear how much crossover there is in lingo between fighting games and speedrunning. Can you talk about that aspect of it a little bit?
So when it comes to like fighting game like lingo compared to speedrunning lingo, I think like fighting game lingo is actually like pretty uniform when it comes to, because like when you're trying to like transition from like fighting game to fighting game, you want to make sure like it's as like fundamental and concrete for the terminology as possible. Like this is like my opinion. For Super Mario 64 or something like that, when they just found a new trick called the Derrick or the Goomy Zoomy or something like that. Things get
Goomy
a little
Zoomy.
bit nuanced.
I love the old Goomy Zoomy.
What do you mean? Yeah, fighting games have the Mamma Mia, right? Come on.
Oh God!
Fighting it. Y'all really want to take the Mamma Mia? Y'all really want to claim Mamma Mia?
No.
Mamma Mia! Here we go again. I mean, come on.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
So yeah, that's probably like the best example that I probably could have given.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh man.
But like I mean, there are stuff as like such as like frames and frame rules that a lot of people need to adhere to, especially for like the older NES games, to actually get like a sense of like RNG manipulation, which is really cool. But other than that, the speedrunning terminology is a wild land of sorts.
I mean, like, I gotta wonder, because I mean, with speedrunning, there are so many games out there, so many different people. But do you still kind of consider it kind of like a pretty tight knit community? Is it still pretty like
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, most like if you're famous in one game, you'll probably know them even if you don't play that game, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, because like there's a lot of people in the speedrunning community that people definitely respect, because they've had their times with like those sort of like genres of games and like whatnot. And then like again, when it comes to like socializing with each other to begin with, this is still a mostly online community, so you'll still find like the same names and personalities in like those discords, in those Twitter threads, and anywhere else where they'd be able to match make or drum up some data on or technology on how to further take down the time in speedruns.
Wow, cool. Yeah, it's very interesting to me. Oh, my last question. There's crossover between fighting games and speedrunning, but how come there isn't that much speedrunning done of fighting games? I know it exists. I looked into it for a while. I thought about doing Third Strike for a while, but I didn't find that many.
The Daigo Kawano set was pretty quick, wasn't it?
All right. All right.
So some any percent.
All
5-2.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Damn.
All right. Okay. Oh man.
No,
I've thought of it too. Like I've always said I want to do the Street Fighter EX Trials speed run, kind of thing like that. I think that would be fun.
I want to play the CPU and see who can beat it the fastest. Like not.
I know we were like running a little bit low on time, but there is a little bit of like there are a couple of fighting game people that do some speed running for like the old arcade games. Like I think like Nerd Josh had like the Street Fighter 1 world record for like a little bit.
That's right.
I know like Dandai like had like a whole bunch of other like stuff and like all these like other like old school like Street Fighter guys and the arcade people. And the arcade like speed runs of like like Street Fighter 2 and like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 are actually like really sick. Like the AI like AI manipulation and like all that. It's like just making them like look like dummies. When
Sure.
I think it's something that you should check it out.
Okay.
With all the crossover, real quick, with all the crossover between speedrunning and fighting game players, who is the best speedrunner / fighting game player of all time?
The best speedrunner / fighting game player of all time.
Taking into consideration their fighting game accomplishments and speedrunning accomplishments, who is the greatest?
Does Smash count?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes,
sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. Then definitely, I got to put in my hat toward Armada.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Armada, exactly. One of the former gods of like Melee. Does Super Mario 64. It's really cool with like the the European speedrunning community as well. We've had a whole bunch of overlap with Smash players going to like those events as well. Like they're also like really good guys.
Cool.
Sweet.
Cool.
Someone also said Silent Wolf. Yeah, shout out to Donkey Kong Country player and overall like SNES player as well. Like there's a lot of like overlap.
It's cool.
Where do you fall into that category, huh?
I am not the best.
I personally think Bobby's the best.
I'm the Captain America of.
I think you could definitely be considered top 3 in that category for sure.
That's a pretty high honor, but I'll take it.
Anyways, like you said, we're out of time earlier. James has one more question for you, and then after that, let us know or let everyone know where they can find you and plug your stuff.
Yeah, I asked this to everybody. Where did Blacktastic come from? I mean, is there a particular story behind it? The name. The name.
Oh, the name?
Yeah.
No.
He's with my mom and dad.
Yeah.
There's this thing, when a man and a woman love each other.
Yeah.
No, it was actually like part of like the local like fighting game community gave me that name for whatever reason because I did not have a good fighting game name.
What was your name?
It was EX Testament before the Guilty Gear days.
Blacktastic is way better, yeah.
Blacktastic the Blacktastic is way better.
Way better.
EX Testa. I was like, what meant? Oh, okay, yeah, right. Okay.
PSP NES.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good one.
But yeah, I guess I'll do the shouts here and then where you can find me. I'm always live Monday through Friday at twitch.tv/TheBlacktastic, either playing fighting games like Power Rangers, Melty Blood, Dragon Ball Fighters, or trying to kick TuboWare's ass in some some Marvel 3. I also do speed runs of retro and indie games, and that's pretty much like where I am. I do a whole bunch of like charity work as well. So if you want to have some fun, I'm always there. Twitch.tv/TheBlacktastic and on Twitter as well.
This dude's stream is pretty sick. You guys should seriously give it a follow.
Thanks for coming on, man. Cool to talk with you again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
All
you
right,
for putting me on here.
Later.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you.
Peace. Alrighty. So that was Blacktastic. Thank you for coming on and talking to us. And again, video games. I just like celebrating video games. Speedrunning is like fighting games are about like peak performance in competitive in a particular genre. Speedrunning is like peak competitive skill in like all video games, and I love it. So I definitely love it. Alrighty. Let's move on to the next category here. So we're going to be moving on to some 5-5 matchup questions. Every week we try to come up with something for us to talk about. And recently there has been some conversation on Twitter that I thought was really fascinating. Kind of went in different directions than I was expecting it to go. So you see here our... summary is how to express displeasure over a game. This came in general from a Twitter post that Rob TV put out, a little video where he was talking about how In-N-Out fries are trash, and
Correct.
if you don't want to eat them, you don't have to eat them. So if you do not like a fighting game, stop keeping yourself playing that fighting game. Move on, play something else. Let other people enjoy the game, etc., etc. Kind of giving a little bit of a, just talking about like, don't torture yourself by playing a game you don't like. Now, this kind of spawned from a bunch of people talking about certain, players, people. There's definitely more than one. Yeah, and okay, well, Sanford is definitely one of them who's been talking about Street Fighter V and how he does not enjoy the game and he dislikes it and it's a bad game, etc., etc. And if you're someone like Rob TV and you're beating everybody, but people are saying it's a bad game, it doesn't feel good, right? No one feels good about winning at bad game kind of thing, And so he started talking about that. And interestingly enough, then PR Rog responded to Rob TV saying, kind of not saying that Rob was going soft, but he was just like, oh, this is the soft kind of stuff, we should just be allowed to hate on a game whenever we feel like it because I hate this game, because PR Rog was like, I hate Street Fighter V, and, we should be allowed to express this kind of thing, right? And, Rob responded back, was saying, oh, but, it's different kind of situation, he was trying to not be as Rob TV in the response of that, but in the midst of that, I really thought it was really interesting. Chris Tatarian came up with a really interesting response, in my opinion, and he was like, but here's the problem. As a person who succeeded in Street Fighter 4, I have to play Street Fighter V. I don't have that choice because I'm a professional fighting game player. This is something that I need to do. And so even if I don't like Street Fighter V, this is something that I have to keep playing. And in response to that, someone actually said, you don't have to play the game. And that if you are playing the game just because you need to succeed, that's selling out, that kind of thing, etc., etc. He was like, you don't have to do this. And so, and again, I don't think this is drama. I actually don't think this is drama. I think this is actually a legit, really interesting conversation. I don't know if you guys think the same way, but this is something that's, the reason why I brought it up and wanted to talk about this, because I thought that this was really interesting. How do you, as a player who, let's say you are good at Street Fighter V and then Street Fighter, because I did this with Ryan LV. When Marvel 3 was really popular, he was talking to F-Champ one time, and this was right when Ryan LV got sponsored, and he's like, I really want to do well. I want to do good at MVCI. And this was before MVCI came out. And I looked at Ryan, and I was like, I'm just telling you right now, you probably will not like MVCI because MVC3 was his first game. And I was like, you're going to have to let go a lot of that stuff if you want to continue to succeed. So there is this kind of thought process of being able to succeed, especially with a game like Street Fighter 6 on the horizon. All these Street Fighter 5 players all of a sudden are going to experience something completely different. And do we yell at them for saying Street Fighter 6 is garbage and 5 is the best? Do we get mad at them for feeling like they have to play 6, etc., etc.?
Well, I think, James, the most important thing to point out about all of that is even if you're a pro player, you're a pro player because you're choosing that profession. You do not have to do it. You can get a traditional job. You can go back to school. You have options. You do not have to do that. So that's a really, really weak argument, in my opinion. Nobody has to play Street Fighter for a fucking living. That's not real life.
Also, it's go for it.
I would say if you really want to, I understand that, but that's a want and not a have to. You're not forced to do that.
And in addition, it doesn't need to be with Street Fighter V. There are other games that have the ability to make money in them. Several other games anyway, have Pro Tours as well. And some of them have paid out, as much or whatever as the Capcom Cup has. So you don't need to play any particular one. Now you have a particular set of skills. It's not super easy to jump from being like a great player at Street Fighter to being a great player in Tekken or whatever else you want to play, right? It's not going to be immediate, but you definitely can make that. That said, like I don't want to undersell that too much, because I understand that there's a big pressure to continue to be a good player in whatever game whatever series that previously you were a good player in. There's a lot of pressure there. And you're right that, like, in a literal sense, you don't need to do that. There's no requirement. But nevertheless, like, the pressure is real, and I understand people feeling that. That said, like, for me personally, when I don't like a game, in the past, I have been pretty vocal about that. At least at times. Not always, but certainly at times. And I don't know what that got me. I mean, it didn't get me anything like positive. It didn't particularly get me anything negative either, to be clear, but it didn't help me, or I don't know. And in the meantime, I was like getting into arguments with my friends about how I thought their game was terrible. And like, then they were mad, and I don't know, like, why did I do that? Like, who cares? Why did I care? I don't know. But I definitely did at the time. And now I don't bother. I mean, I don't like every game that's out, but I don't need to have that argument. Maybe it's just because I've been there and like I've seen this happen enough that I'm finally like over the idea of caring about what somebody else enjoys in a fighting game. Like, it just doesn't seem relevant to me anymore. Yeah. But like, I've also been doing it for a long time, and it took me a long time to get to that point. So I shouldn't really expect that other people would not want to get in their own arguments or whatever, because I did it for a long time myself. And nowadays, I do, like I said, I certainly don't like every game. But on the other hand, like, it's that experience of really thinking some games are ass, and then my friends being like, oh, they're cool because of this or that. That did help me figure out that it's not the case that there's some objective good. There's no objectively good fighting game. It's entirely subjective in every case. And that it didn't necessarily mean that like I now like the things that I didn't like before, but instead it's like giving me more of an insight into the fact that there are positive things in other games, even if they're not ones that I care about. Mm-hmm. There are subjectively positive things that are just as viable for other people to care about as I care about in the games that I personally care about.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's an interesting position, because one of the reasons why that I do what I do, with the commentary and trying to spread the gospel of fighting games to people, is because I do want this to be something that they can do as a career, right? That has always been one of my goals. I want guys like Justin and a Chris Tatarian or a Sanford Kelly or whatever to play fighting games. And, they don't have to be, swimming in money like Scrooge McDuck or anything like that. But, definitely would be cool if they could succeed.
What if they were? Because that would make for great content.
That'd be great content, but they wouldn't need it anymore. So, but that's the thing, right? Like, so for me, I would like to see that happen. So I get where a lot of these players are coming from. That's why what Chris Tatarian said, actually resonated with me so much, right? But at the same time, like a lot of people in the chat have been saying, a lot of you guys have been saying, and like I said to Ryan LV, this is video games. Your livelihood is in large control of forces out of your control, right? You don't get to decide what the next game is going to be like when it comes out, what the patch is going to do to your game or your character, right? Yeah. You just have no idea. And especially in the case of Street Fighter, like for Guilty Gear and Tekken players, it hasn't been that crazy until Strive. But for Street Fighter players, I mean, again, we make the jokes all the time that all the four players, all the three players hated 4, right? All the 4 players hate 5, and all the 5 players are going to hate 6. It's going to happen. Like, there is no way the people who grew up and played 5 and currently love 5 aren't going to hate 6. It's gonna
I can't wait to see Just a Kid's Twitter feed.
Dude.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
To be fair, he did actually come in the scene at the end of 4.
Yeah.
So he did play 4, but still, I think he's gonna hate 6. I just have this feeling. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch his pain.
So it's interesting because I also do agree with Rob. If the game causes you that much pain, don't play it. Don't write about it. Don't engage in it. Just get the hell away from the game.
I think what Rob was trying to say is like, damn, Sanford, like, come on, man. Like, you're clearly, like, this is affecting your mental health bad. Like, it's not okay. Like, it's not worth it, I think was what he's trying to say. And it's not worth it, man.
It's so rarely the case that anybody really makes significant money from playing. I mean, how many cases are there? A dozen people in the FGC who really make a lot of money playing fighting games?
Maybe.
I don't know if it's that many, and it's not Sanford. So don't play the game if you hate it, right?
Don't play it, man.
The money stuff definitely came from the Christatarian side of things. From Sanford and Rob, they're definitely talking more about just the love aspect of it. And I've talked to Sanford about it. Street Fighter V is the most anti-Sanford Kelly fighting game I think that could possibly exist. Like, he's in the same category as Nuki as a player. Like, this game just is not made for you. So there's no, like, you know, it's just what it is. I mean, people who are in the chat right now who have been on my stream try to get good at Street Fighter V, and I told them, go play something else. This is not the game for you. In fact, in one of them, I even bought them one of the games. I was just like, here, just go play this game instead because you'll enjoy this game more. And, like, that's just the thing. The beautiful part about the FGC right now is, especially right now, there's like 7 bazillion fighting games to play right now.
Dude, we're in the true golden age, I think, of fighting games.
Yep.
But having said that, you know, coming from the Christatarian standpoint, I totally get where he's coming from because there is this relevancy. Yes, you're right, Tubo, that you can get a regular job, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, this is kind of that dream. You have this opportunity to try to succeed at doing something that you love and you enjoy. That's kind of the American dream. That's what they sell us since we were kids, right? And so, you know, the reality is not going to hit a lot of people. Hell, I don't know if the reality has even hit me yet. You know, that's the thing, right? So, you know, I get it. I get that they want to complain. And so kind of going back to how do we complain about the game? I mean, obviously, you have every right to talk smack about this game, and if you don't like it, talk your shit, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, like, say what you want about it, but don't let it affect you mentally, right? I mean, even as much as I like 5, I will 100% say that I like 5 better than 4. Right? Like, I like Street Fighter V so much better than Street Fighter 4. However, if you sit down and talk to me, I will tell you all the problems with Street Fighter V. I will be able to tell you everything that I think is wrong with Street Fighter V. Just like I can tell you everything that I think is wrong about Street Fighter 4. Just like I can tell you everything that I think is wrong with Super Turbo, right? There's just, it's just, they're all different games. And there's not going to be one that's objectively better than the other.
Yeah, it's all just
except for it's definitely Street Fighter 4.
In my opinion, Street Fighter 4 is the weakest of the
best
of the major Street Fighter series.
Behind Marvel 3.
I definitely have it behind 5, 2, and 3 for sure. But like that said, I enjoyed it a lot. Like, I certainly played a lot of it. I commentated a lot of it, and I wasn't like making myself angry in doing so. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed it for sure, for sure. But yeah, if you're not like that, if it's not the game for you, just pick something else, play something else, enjoy it.
Top game. Pick a top game.
Well, I mean, look,
exactly.
My maybe even more honest opinion is that I think that it's rarely the case that the reason for the complaints, at least the like very loud, repetitive complaints, is the game. I don't think it's the game. Maybe you don't like the game, but I absolutely don't think that the game is the reason for the continued repeated complaints. That's coming from somewhere else. I don't know. I'm not going to diagnose anybody with anything, but it's coming from somewhere else for sure.
Yeah.
And
Dr.
remove yourself
Graham.
from these negative situations if you continue to find that you are being provoked by the game, because it's not really the game, right? Figure out what the issue is. I don't know, but it's not the game for sure.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
So, yeah, okay. I wanted to respond to the chat about some of the opinions. I agree 100%, Tex. I will say that much, And again, like I said, I can go back and forth. On one day, I will sound like I am the biggest Street Fighter V hater. On the next day, it sounds like I love Street Fighter V too much. It's just the way it works. And shout outs to
Gibbo-bit too much.
Exactly. Look at this. Gibbo-bit to TXXT, Tetsuya 5963, IRM F, Subatar, Melody 96, Gene Decay, King Vasuki, Guya Gamey, Yosbri, and Wander
Let's
JL.
get some UCTV kisses in the chat, huh?
Nice work out there. Thank you very much for the gifted subs, the 10 gifted subs. All right, let's get into the 5-5 matchup viewer questions. As per usual, what we're going to do is highlight a few of the questions that we got, and we will allow you to vote. James will be setting up the poll, so think about which one of these you want us to talk about, and you'll vote for it after I read these out. Number 1. Since logos are a hot topic now, what are your choices for best and worst fighting game logos? Number 2, should TOs and fighting game devs work together on creating exclusive event content for attendees at big events? For example, special SF5 costumes or colors for attending Combo Breaker. And then number 3, should Street Fighter 6's aesthetic be designed to appeal to a younger generation? There's your 3. Is it set up?
Yep, it is set up. And remember, subscribers can vote twice. You can use that for 2 different categories if you are a, fair and balanced person, or you could use them both for the same one if you are a cheater.
I see.
And make sure you do exclamation mark number. Exclamation mark number. Do not just type in the number, do exclamation mark number.
All right, I voted twice.
For the same one.
All those cheaters out there, dude.
Like a filthy cheater.
That's right.
Exactly.
Just like me.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
I'm the only fair and balanced one. As the content creator of this, as the person answering these questions, I don't vote. I let you decide my fate. I will not have a part in it because I am honest and I am... Screw this result. I'm picking my own question.
It looks like 1 in 3.
Yeah, 1 is going to do it.
One is the winner for sure.
Yeah, let's
let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
The poll has been closed. The poll has been archived. We are answering number 1. Man, this was actually the one that I hoped would not have won.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I don't have an answer for this.
Well, think of one.
Yeah. Also, get ready with your Google so you can Google the ones that we talk about and show everybody how terrible they are or great they are.
Okay. All right. What would be my favorite fight? So, with logos being the hot topic right now, what are your choices for best and worst fighting game logos? I'm trying to think of if there was any particular fighting game logo that I thought was super clever and that I loved, and I can't think about it.
Here's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to twitter.com/jchenzor.
Yeah.
Because you had some tweets from earlier that included some logos that I thought were truly bad. Oh yeah, rival schools united by fate. Wow. Yes. Very ugly, I thought. My immediate reaction to that was that was terrible. So can you please Google that and show everybody what that looks like?
Yeah, hang on one second if I can find it. You said it was the rival schools one?
Yeah, rival schools united by fate.
Okay.
What's going on with this logo? And it's 10 fonts and different colors.
That's what makes it so good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good, huh?
So here we go. Here's the rival schools logo here.
Okay.
Boop, there we go.
Look at this. What happened?
What
What
happened?
happened?
It stands out. It
Are you?
stands out though.
Is it
That's
is
the
it a
thing.
is it a brush like on the R and L of Rival, or is it like very pointy like United by Fate, or is it? I don't even know how to describe the middle section.
It's spooky-ish.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like it's obviously based off of the Japan logo, and one of the interesting things about if you look at Asian countries, their logos are usually actually I shouldn't call
Wait,
it. I
what
should
Japan
call it-
logo do you mean?
So if I go to Project Justice logo here,
Okay.
you'll see. No, I guess it's not this one. Let me see. United by Fate logo here. So this logo here, I mean, if you look, I just saw the Japanese one.
I did too. This
right
is
here,
hilarious.
right here. So
Okay.
you can see that they did the U.S. one based off of the Japanese one.
Yeah, but it still looks bad there
It's the
too.
same idea. Yeah, same
Yeah,
issue.
but that's the whole concept. Japan and Asian countries are very much obsessed with logos using the actual katakana characters. Like if you're in Japan, you'll very rarely see logos with pictures and stuff in it. It's just
Well,
kind of how
I'm not-
it is.
To be honest, I'm not sure what that has to do with my distaste for it, because it could be words or not. It's the
James just described what you don't like about it, but in Japanese.
right, exactly. Yeah. Like it's cool if it's in another language. Like in my mind, of course, it's in another language. It's in that other country. But it has the same issues. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I think it's a nice looking logo. I mean, I prefer it this way. Like if we look at all these different logos out here, I also
what do we
like
got here?
theming. I
Oh,
also like
God.
theming on the
Look at
logos as
some of it.
well.
A lot of these are awful.
Yeah, some of those were nice. Some of those were nice for sure. What do I like here? Not a lot, actually. Soul Calibur 2 is the classic one. I think
I
that's
think
nice.
none of the Tekken logos are good.
Oh,
Actually,
I highly agree.
The Soul Calibur one's pretty good. This one,
Calibur
Yeah, Soul
one's just-
Calibur is strong. Yeah, Soul Calibur 1 and 2 pretty strong.
Yeah, Tekken just looks like
Tekkens are
something
all bad. They look like
exploded.
mush.
Yeah, mush is a good way to put it. Except for Tekken 4. Tekken 4 is like metallic mush.
It's still they're shit.
Hey, what about
Jesus.
MK11? That one is my favorite.
MK11 is a neat one. I like what they did with that one. How
clever.
they used the
It's clever.
11 in there. Yeah.
It's clever. I'll give it to him.
Let's see. These are all Namco games over here. Here's a whole bunch of stuff over here.
Pocket Fighter's cute.
The Marvel vs. Capcom 2 logo is pretty dang iconic, to be honest with you.
It's pretty iconic. Yeah, I really like CVS2, and I really like whatchamacallit. You just had it at the bottom. Power Stone. I like Power Stone 1 and 2 logos.
There's CVS, but
CVS2 is great.
what?
That's
is
one.
CVS 2 on here? Yeah, that's
No,
one.
not- that's just
CVS2
one.
is not here. Yeah. I do like the Vampire Savior logo.
Yeah, that one's nice. Can you put up CVS 2
Let me see.
and MK11? Just so.
Capcom versus SNK2 logo. There it is.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
This one.
Whatever.
I like it. I like the colors. I think they pop. I think it's super easy to read.
Yeah, the MK11 logo
Just
was just
two,
clever
yeah.
because of the
Yeah, look at that.
11 in the
Yeah,
middle.
that's
right
a
there.
good one. It's a good one.
That's
Good
a
one.
really
That's a
cool
good
one. Yeah.
No, I like that.
Especially
I'm
for
not a
this,
fan
like-
of the dragon logo. I never have been.
Really? That's
Yeah.
so iconic,
It's
dude.
it is iconic, but I just never thought it looked cool, even as a kid.
Even as a
Interesting.
kid? Wow.
Yeah, I know that I'm alone on this. I
Yeah,
got made fun
for
of for
sure.
it from my friends.
Okay.
I heard it. Like I know that I'm alone. I just thought it was
Right.
always cheesy.
All right,
But
fair enough,
I mean,
fair enough,
like
fair
if
enough.
you look at like this one over here, like this is what I mean. Like, see how all the Street Fighter, even though they change over time a little bit, they still all have a very constant theming to it.
Yeah, they're all McDonald's colored.
Yeah,
Uh,
but,
The red and yellow.
Can
and
you
the-
put
and the black.
SF6 up here again, just for contrast, just like have it on a tab here?
okay,
Valle tweeted a picture with both of like all of the Street Fighter logos.
right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So that's the Street Fighter 6 logo, and then, oops, here it is. This is the other Street Fighter logos, right?
Yeah, sure is.
I don't like the departure of the theme. You know what I mean? I do think that's a bad idea.
What does Primal Rage look like? I don't remember that one.
Primal Rage. That's the one with the claw mark on it, right? It's
I
like
really
it
don't
looks like a
recall.
trident
I don't
almost
remember.
kind of thing. Or...
No.
Yeah, this is the one that I was thinking of.
Just on
That's
fire.
the one that I'm thinking of with the claw marks off of the E.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
never
like
realized those
that.
claw marks. That's kind of nifty.
Yeah,
nifty.
I can't find.
Man,
them.
Primal Rage is a wacky ass game.
Anyway,
It is
give me
wacky.
give me your worst one, Tubbo. You said you like CVS 2. What's your worst?
Yeah. Dude, probably like all the Tekken logos. I think they're terrible.
Okay.
Dang,
Yeah.
really?
I think they're
Interesting.
real bad. Yeah. Oh, that Ninja Masters one is pretty bad too. But
Oh, this one, yeah.
yeah, it's just so generic. I did that in Microsoft Paint when I was 8.
Jeez.
Took me 2 hours of Microsoft Paint. Made the Ninja Masters logo for sure.
All right, James. What's your best and worst?
That definitely takes a lot more effort than this, right? I mean,
Is this your worst?
Took a lot more effort than this. I don't know what would be my worst. Now you're trying to make me go into the worst.
Yeah,
Isn't
man,
that
pick
the
a shitty
question?
one. That
Yeah,
Pocket
the
Fighter one sucks.
This
the Pocket Fighter one's still
I think
cute.
it's-
No, that's so
Fighter
nice.
one is actually
I don't
a
like
cool
it.
one.
That's a great
think it
one, I
sucks.
think.
I like this one, and because this
It's
one indicates
appropriate.
exactly what the game is supposed to be.
Man,
Exactly.
everybody hates my opinion on this. That's okay. I can deal with it.
Well, that
I've seen what you
explains
guys cheer
that
for.
explains a lot of things. Okay.
I've seen what you guys cheer for.
I mean, honestly, I don't like the Street Fighter Cross Tekken logo, just because it's Street Fighter logo, Tekken logo, and some really try-hard explosion in the middle.
Yeah, but that's exactly how CVS 2 is, and pretty close to how Marvel 2 is.
Yeah, but I don't really like the CVS one that much either, I guess.
Yeah, me neither.
Haters gonna hate. Power Stone 2 is dope. That's
I
a
think
strong one.
the thing about the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 one is I think that the 2 ties it together really well. Like, I like the way the shape of it kind of even protrudes under, but only
There's
under
there's
here.
only one bad Marvel logo, and that's MVC. MVCI, sorry.
Oh, and what is Marvel vs.
MVCI.
The KI logo, I think, is really good.
I don't even remember this. Oh, that's right.
know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's the infinite in the back too.
So it's a
Yeah,
little worse, I guess.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I think the other 3 are much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like, I don't even know if I can answer this question properly. I couldn't even tell you what my favorite one is, to be honest. Like, looking at all these different logos and stuff like that, I'm gonna be
James
affected.
loves them all.
I'm gonna
Blaze
be.
Blue is pretty cool.
I'm gonna be
Blaze Blue
more
is cool.
affected by nostalgia than anything. Actually, someone put up the Blaze Blue
That's fine.
cross
Totally reasonable.
tag battle logo, and that
Yeah,
was
BB
one?
Tag is nice looking too. I agree.
Is it?
yeah, like, well,
It's a
which
real
one are you
crazy
talking
one.
about? This one or this one? This is the crazy
I like
one.
the
Yeah, the crazy one.
normal one.
See, I like
I
the
like-
crazy one.
I like the normal one better.
See, this one to me feels similar to the rival schools one, right? So
Oh,
this is.
I'm
Blech.
not sure I could disagree more.
I mean, how, dude? Like, how is that not the case?
I mean,
dude?
in both cases, there's like a shape that's expanding from the middle, but that feels like it's just
Sorry
way too
to
reductive for me.
all the audio listeners, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
that's
Just
right.
probably,
Sorry,
probably
guys.
fast forward here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. If
It's useful to tell someone to fast forward at the end.
I know, right?
yeah, I know, right? I mean, I don't know. Like
It's a lot worse.
They have a lot of similarities between them. So to me, I think it's just because I really like the shapes. The way that I've kind of picked them is I really like the shapes. Like, I like the Vampire Savior one because it's a similar shape. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's where a lot of it comes from. I think is the shapes, not even just necessarily how legible it is or whatever like that. I just like the shapes of them.
I don't really care about the legibility
I,
that much, but this
I like
one's
your
consistent
shape,
and
James.
cool.
I don't. Jesus Christ,
Whoa.
my shape is awful.
All right, let's
dude.
move
My
on
shape
here.
is awful. Are you kidding me? Holy
Love your
crap.
shapes, buddy.
All right.
I love you no matter what shape you are.
Oh,
Indeed.
man.
Indeed. Indeed.
All
Okay.
right. Let's
All
go.
right, moving on.
Mailbag.
Mailbag.
Let me find the mailbag questions that we picked over here. Whoops. All right. First mailbag question comes from a common source of our questions over here. This is going to be from Stephanie Brownback, who asks, Hollywood has run out of fresh ideas and franchises to reboot. Now they're going to make a biopic on your lives. Who was cast as the three of you? What about the other key figures? Bonus, what is the post-credit scenes that teases the future of the FGC extended universe?
I think I should be played by 1970s Harrison Ford.
No, you can't do that. It can't be any actor all time. It has to be current.
Dang. All right. You know what? Fine. I'm played by Harrison Ford.
Old Harrison Ford?
Yeah, that's right. Old Harrison Ford.
Are they going to de-age him for you or what?
Yeah, you know, maybe they'll figure that out. Maybe they'll do a better job of it than with the Luke situation.
Wait,
Yeah,
aging? What? Whoops.
Oh, don't worry about it if you haven't seen it. Well,
Don't worry about it.
yeah, I guess I am. All right, fine. If you guys don't like that, I don't know enough actors and actresses. I don't know enough about Hollywood to be able to say.
Come on, man. You watch Marvel stuff at the very least. And
I don't know
Frasier, you
anybody's
fucking love
name.
Frasier.
Somebody
I
said
love Frasier.
Benedict
I'm married to
Cumberbatch.
somebody who does.
Yeah, that means you love it too. You watch
Somebody
it with
says
her all the
that
time.
you should be played by Benedict Cumberbatch. I can kind of see it. The smarminess could
Benedict
be there.
Cumberbatch.
Doctor
He's-
Strange.
Oh,
Neil
for
Patrick
sure.
Harris would be a great David.
Oh yeah, that actually sounds
Neil Patrick
hilarious.
Harris would be a
All right,
fantastic.
that's
David.
a really good choice. I'm in.
That is
That's
Everybody
really
keeps
funny.
everybody keeps saying Seth Rogen for me. Oh, they're both stoners. That's probably a good choice, though, to be honest.
I can see that too. Sure.
So my answer,
maybe Jack Black.
I want to be
Tom
played by
Holland,
this
that's a
guy.
little bit too-
I want to be played by this dude over here.
Okay. Who's this guy?
All right, yeah, sure.
His
All right.
name is James Chen.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Look how-
James Chen.
so you Googled James Chen and it came out with 100 different people.
No,
look at this-
actually-
Yeah.
look at this. screen
Actually,
out here.
before it used to be almost just me, and now
Oh, yeah?
this guy has come and taken
Now
over.
this guy.
There's
this
at least
guy-
4 different dudes on
This
here. I
fucking
mean, there's
guy.
at least 5, at least 6 different dudes on here.
Yeah, there's many different people that appear on that screen.
Same.
Same.
So
You
this-
definitely. That's not the same. The
bullshit.
4th one is
Those are
not
all
the same
the
guy.
same.
Bullshit.
Those are all the same guy.
Bullshit.
The 4th one's the same guy. No,
fourth one
No,
is
not the fourth
the
one.
guy.
Not the fourth one. I
Yeah.
skipped him. I skipped
all right.
him.
Okay.
I said this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Those are the same guys. Like I said, this guy took over, unfortunately.
Well, good job to the other.
All right,
James
well,
Chen.
this third row is a bunch of different people.
Yeah.
Third
at
row,
least.
yeah, is different people, but except
All right.
for this guy right here, that's the same guy. But then there's this dude. This one is the best one right there.
Get a picture of you.
Yeah. Shout outs to
Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith could play too, but I would let him. I'd allow it.
There you go. So
All right. So we got James Chen and Neil Patrick Harris and
Seth
wait, who'd you
Rogen.
go with? Seth Rogen. ultimately?
Seth Rogen or Kevin Smith or
Kevin Smith. Kevin
if it's
Smith.
the
I
new-
like
any
Kevin
of them
Smith,
would
yeah.
work.
Someone said if it's the Liu Kang plays me, dude, like if it's that new Liu Kang guy, dude, I'm all for it. That guy's beautiful, dude. Like I'm totally down for it. So
Yeah, he
would
wasn't the
amazing.
strongest actor though.
Doesn't matter, dude. He just had.
I don't think he could pull off you crying at Evo, dude.
Aw.
I don't think he could pull it off, man. We need a stronger actor.
Oh man.
Hopefully James Chen can get it done.
Who are the other
you
key
go.
figures? Who are we casting in our tale?
Edward Snowden as Keats. For sure.
Good luck finding Edward Snowden.
Who played Edward Snowden in the biopic that's actually about Edward Snowden? Because there is
Is
one
it-
That's
that I-
was
the
there
guy
one?
that plays Keats.
Was there one?
there was
was-
one. I saw it. Yeah.
Edward Snowden biopic. Was it Joseph Gordon-Levitt who played him?
Oh, that sounds right. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that can be a Keats. I'm down.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, huh? Okay. I feel like we would have to have Tasty Steve just play himself, right? Like, I don't think anybody could pull off Tasty Steve except for Tasty Steve.
Kevin Hart, are you kidding me?
Come on, man.
Kevin Hart is absolutely Tasty Steve.
Yeah, he's made for that role.
No fucking question. If
Made for
that
that
ever
role.
happened, yeah. It is Kevin Hart.
Come on. Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Kevin Hart just have to hit the gym for like 2 months. Good to go. Good to go. That's Tasty Steve. Give him some beads. Put a beanie on him. Done. Free.
Definitely.
That's a wrap. Tom Cruise would have to play Sage-Am.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Come on, tell me they don't kind of look alike.
65-year-old Sage Am.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna have to age him down quite a bit, but
Right,
I think that's the guy. Oh man.
The bonus post-credit scene at the end is we've all just had like a very harrowing experience, right? The world was barely saved. Oh boy, it was so close. But like the world almost exploded. And then at the end, you know who comes out of the portal to be like, all right, everybody, I'm going to save it and everything's going to be great moving forward.
Gonzo.
Kenny Omega.
Pokimane. Pokimane walks out.
No!
Pokimane.
Phases out.
Yes, yes.
Oh, Pokimane. She comes out of the teleport, out of the Doctor
Who was
Strange portal.
who was the guy that played the original War Machine? Terrence Howard. That's Majin Obama.
Terrence
definitely
Howard.
Terrence Howard.
I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
But it's just that we're a lot older, I think. With these
yeah.
actors, you know.
Who plays Eris? I wish I knew more names. I don't know enough people. But you guys do. You guys definitely know more.
Definitely.
I want
Kyle Gass.
I want Jonah Hill to play Hanzo Gonzo. It doesn't like
That
they
would
don't
be-
they don't fit,
That would
but like I think it would
be
kind of
that would be good. Jonah could nail a Hanzo. That would be sick.
I think that would
That
actually
would be a sick role. I agree. That would actually be OD.
Ryan Gosling, yeah.
as Hanzo.
With my 17 model girlfriend.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Tom Holland could probably also pull off like a suave looking Hanzo Gonzo. I think that could
I could
work.
see Tom Holland. Yeah, I could see Tom Holland.
I
Sure.
think that
Or
works.
also Danny DeVito would work just as well.
It would be so great, dude. What if we just all had an old cast? All right, so I'm
dude, that would be man.
I'm
The
going
old
back to my
guy.
pick of Harrison Ford, and we got Sage-Am being Tom Cruise,
Tom Cruise,
and then
Sage-Am.
Danny DeVito
Because
is Hanzo
somebody,
Gonzo.
just because
Oh,
someone
that's so
said
good.
I look like this actor from a long time ago, I will be played by Jet Li. That's what I will do.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I guess I would still probably be Kevin Smith or Seth Rogen. I don't think that would change very much.
Yeah, they're not as old as the other guys, but they're a little older than us, I think.
Yeah, maybe Jack Black. It doesn't really change much.
Jack
Still the
Black
same
would be
dudes.
great. Yeah, he's got a big gray beard. Last time I saw him, he had a big gray beard.
He's an old man now.
Jack Black as Hanzo
That would be
work
really good.
really well. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say as Tubbo. I think Jack Black as
Yeah,
Tubbo.
I think that's more of me.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, we're saved by Pokimane in the
man.
end.
Yeah, thank God.
Whew.
Thank
barely.
God for
Just made it.
Pokimane.
But you gotta. I mean, she's not saving the world in this episode. That's gonna be the next.
DJ
movie.
Blues, he got old. Not everybody Jackie Chan and can do it
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, and actually, I'm not sure, but like he's looked kind of gaunt in some pictures, so he may have some health
Oh, yeah?
problems.
Yeah,
and
dude,
stuff like
he's
that,
old,
so-
dude.
Oh, sorry
He's
to hear
old.
that. Okay.
Yeah. No one's really sure about that. I mean, Chow Yun Fat would be pretty cool as a James Chen, as well as an old actor playing me as well. Chow Yun
that
Fat is
name.
also one of the most amazing
yeah,
human
okay.
beings on the planet as well. Like what he plans to do with all of his money and stuff like that, and what
Okay.
he does with all. You know how like Keanu Reeves still just takes the subway and all that stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
that's Chow Yun Fat, except he's the Chinese version of it. And like, he says like when he dies, all of the money just goes to charity. He just says like all of everything that he has will just go straight to charity. He doesn't buy anything crazy, blah 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 blah, etc. etc. So shout outs to Chow Yun Fat.
All right, let's move on
That was a
to
good
the next
question.
one.
Okay. That wasn't
That was
that the
fun.
Oh, do we? That's right. We do have a second question, don't we? Okay.
We
Yeah,
do.
let's knock it
And
out of
then
the
we're
park.
out of here.
Knock it
Yeah.
out of the goddamn park.
Ew, that sounded gross.
Don't be
All
weird,
right.
everybody.
Beat Ken's meat.
How dare you?
That is not appropriate for the stream. We have to put a mature rating. What is the most distant and remote you have ever felt from civilization? Jesus Christ. We just like went from like some goofy, silly question, like some super serious depression question here.
Listen, the last question was super serious too, because
Yeah,
we could make that movie happen, all right?
absolutely.
And secondly, fuck, man, I don't know.
I got a couple
Jeez.
answers.
When I was at the Aurora Borealis.
Oh
Go ahead.
no, he's already answered my answer.
Yeah, I already knew.
No, it's in the Owens Valley in California actually.
Shocking.
It's on the way to Mammoth Mountain from Southern California. If anybody else has ever done that drive, it's just like really, it just feels extremely remote. There's like all these like lava domes around, super super tall mountains on the side of this valley. Very few people are around. The only people there are like occasionally driving around, and even that is not super common. And one time we were going up to Mammoth for whatever. We stopped and we just like kind of hiked around, and I feel like that's like the farthest I've ever been from other people. I mean, probably not really, because like it's California, there's not nobody living around here, but it felt so extremely remote. And although I've been to the mountains many times, like that area in particular felt like it was just, I don't know, could have been in Antarctica or far north of Canada or wherever, and that's how it felt. So I
I
thought it was cool though. I
that,
wasn't like mad about it. I thought it was awesome.
If I hiked to a place like that, like just by myself, and I got to the top of the hike in a mountain, and I'm looking down at everything, I'd pull out my wiener for sure. Just to do it. I don't know why. But that's just like what's the first thing in my mind is like, I'm pulling out my dong. Because I'm here by myself. I don't know, man. But that's what I was picturing right now. I was like, damn, did they pull out their wieners? Like, how does this work?
No, we didn't.
Thought I'd share that with you guys.
My family and I chose not to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I figure it's your family, but, maybe, like, I'll meet you in the car.
Hey, Mom and Dad, would you guys mind waiting in the car? I just gotta yank one out.
I didn't say that. I mean, just pull it out. Anyways, that was the first thing that was on my mind.
Woo!
Oh.
Oh boy! Wow.
I don't even know how to follow that up at this point. I mean, my answer is legitimately, when have I never felt disconnected and remote from civilization?
Oh,
That's
I think
that's like
we're
every
talking about-
day, right? I mean, that's
like
me.
a physical answer, like not what's your mental state like.
I never read it that way, because that is definitely like me on a daily basis, right? So,
well, if you had to describe it in a physical sense, like what would
I mean,
you say?
physical sense was, I've told the story on stream before when I went kayaking at the hotel in Hawaii during my cousin's wedding, and the beach was just full of people, super loud and noisy. I'd never kayaked before. The guy's like, here, this is how you kayak, shoved me into the water, and I started kayaking. He's like, don't go too far. And I was like, I don't give a crap. So again, I like swimming, I like water, drowning, fear of drowning, that stuff never affects me. And people say, I mean, when I was a kid, they said it was because I'm an Aquarius, but I don't know if that's actually anything to do with that. So I was like, screw that. I'm kayaking as far as I can. And when I kayaked super far out into the water, and when I turned around and looked back, I could still see everything. In fact, I could see more of the beach. I could see more people in my vision than I've ever seen. Yet I couldn't hear a single thing from any of them because I was in the ocean. The sound just dissipates. And so when I was sitting there in the water and like a turtle comes up and breaches for breathing and stuff like that, and I just turn around and I just hear nothing but wind, and I closed my eyes and like I couldn't hear a single bit of civilization, and all the people were out there. That's probably physically the most. And you know what? Forget it. I think I'm done here.
Oh, I thought that was very nice. TuboWare's thinking about you pulling out your wiener the entire time, but I think that was a very nice story.
I can't stop, man. Oh,
Just what Ryu has done to
Hanzo Gonzo, dude. Fucking Hanzo in the chat, you piece of shit. Oh my god. I was fine until Hanzo had to open his mouth. Oh,
all right, what about you? Where have you pulled your wiener out?
You know, this may actually sound weird. I've done that like right before taking a shower, dude. It was like the craziest thing.
See?
I'm a never nude personally.
I don't know, man. I'm like very much a city person. I've gone camping one time at my buddy's parents or something cabin in high school, and maybe that was like it was like in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin. That was probably the only time I've ever seen real stars. Like actually, like holy shit, there's lights in the sky. That's incredible. You know, like that's the only time in my life that I've experienced that. So I guess then, but I was with a bunch of my fucking friends, so I didn't really feel that disconnected, and we had, you know, video games and shit. It was whatever. So
Sounds like a nice night.
It was a nice weekend. Yeah, it was dope.
Yeah. Well, honestly,
I would really like to go and do more traveling in places like that. I would love to see what like the far north of Alaska or Canada looks like, or like Tierra del Fuego in the very far south of South America. Or I want to go to Siberia. Like I'm very curious about like how it's like in all those places.
You're a weirdo.
I don't know. I think that sounds cool. I want to go to like the very far north of Norway. I want to go to Svalbard. It'd be cool. I don't know. I'd like to go to Longyearbyen. You know those places that everybody knows, right?
No one goes to those places.
That surely everybody else here too has been on Google Maps late at night, just like going around the entire world, being like, where would be cool to go?
No,
right?
That sounds awful. Not the trip planning, but like those places. Why? Just because other people don't go there? What are you, a travel hipster?
No, that's not. It's not really because of that.
I went to Siberia before. It was cool.
It's always been cool.
Oh my god. For long.
I'm not really sure what attracts me to those places, but I've always just been really curious. I don't know. There's plenty of other remote places on Earth, and it's not really the remoteness. It's just something about the landscape that I think is really interesting. Maybe.
James, will you go to Amsterdam with me?
Not if you pull your wiener out. I mean.
No, we'll be in civilization. I won't pull my wiener out. Don't worry.
Like I said, I mean, for me, this question is tough because, like I said, I feel this way every day.
Well, I just invited you to Amsterdam, so feel more connected, jerk.
Yeah, it's just it's a tough
or I'll
one. Man.
Fight
it's
you.
A tough one.
All right. Well. You can if you'd like to. Yeah, for sure. You can do that in Amsterdam. Now,
you can do a lot of things in a lot of places.
Yeah, that's not the only place that you can do that, but you can't do that anywhere, right? You have to find specific locations to do that.
Yeah, it's gotta, you know, you don't want to break any laws.
My friends and I went to Amsterdam when I was studying abroad, and it was a very trippy place to be able to walk around.
Trippy, huh?
Yeah, it was really weird.
Were you tripping, David?
Sure. I mean, I'm in Amsterdam.
On any what substances, David? What substances were you doing, David? Tell us.
Things that are legal here now.
Oh, well.
So nothing too
exciting.
Yeah, nothing too adventurous. But it was cool.
I was hoping to hear about the first time you did a line or something.
We went to a museum. and then we went on like a boat tour, and we went to the red light district. You know, that's the things that you do.
Oh. All right,
Don't be
David.
weird, everybody.
All right, David.
You know, it was actually
The
funny.
museum that we went to was the sex museum.
When I
Don't
went
be
to
weird,
Japan,
everybody.
when I went to Japan, we went to go see the big giant Godzilla head that's like in this complex that like roars at a certain time every day, and we were told that's kind of like the Japan red light district too. So I guess when I was in Japan, I went to the red light district as well. So
Nice.
I feel like that's kind of racist, isn't it?
what?
But the Godzilla head roaring, why is that got to be the Japan district? That's weird to me.
No,
That's
I was
a
in
weird
Japan.
He
choice.
was in Japan.
Oh, I thought you said you were in Amsterdam.
No, in Japan.
Oh, I thought you were in
What the
Amsterdam,
hell?
and there was a Godzilla head that roared, and that was like the Japan. So I was like, that's kind of
He's out of here. So when I did the Beat Ken's Meat crack on the CPT stream, it went exactly as I planned, and that included it being really awkward. I wanted it to come off as like really, really awkward, and some people were like, maybe he didn't mean to say that. Maybe it was just like an error, and that was actually part of my plan as well, because I wasn't sure that it would go over okay. So
wow.
So literally in
Howard.
person after I said it in the studio, I pretended like it was a complete accident for like 20 minutes, and I was like, "Oh no, I can't believe I accidentally did that." Like I'm hamming it up, not on camera, but just in case I'm about to get yelled at.
What a coward! I would have stuck to my guns. I would have went all in.
So anyway, it went all according to plan, and then luckily nobody got mad, so that it all worked out. But
I can't believe you put an exit strategy in there.
I did. I had an exit strategy in there.
Jeez, I would have been all in.
I was really proud of my frame data pun. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, it was
that
a great
much.
pun. It
I'm
was a
really
very
proud
good
of
one.
That one. So
Absolutely agree. All right. Well, I guess that's it.
That's it.
James has gone back to Greenland.
Changes cameras. All fucked. Well,
Enjoy.
That's the show. Bird 'em.
Maybe we're birding them. I can't hear it. Hey.
There they are.
I was proud of that one too, Flotas. The Travis Styles Magic Gathering pun.
That was also very good.
I was happy about that.
Horsey sauce is real.
Horsey sauce is good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very good. Horseradish. That's why it's called horsey sauce.
I'm gonna go beat
Stop.
TuboWare and KOF.
Okay.
Is that what we're doing? All right.